Welcome back to the Tribal Lines podcast. I'm your host, Stephen Lupo, and today for the finale, we are here with the one, the only Alex Rubino back again. How are you doing?
What an intro. Wow, Steven. I mean, it is an honor to be here. It's an honor to bookend the season with you. A season that had so much promise and then didn't, and then ended strong. So let's dive into all this.
Yeah, this season, honestly, like the last few seasons prior to 48 have been, in my opinion, continuously getting better and better. I feel like out of all of the new era seasons, the second half of them have been the best ones of the new era. And except for 48, I think drops down to a lower tier of like a 41 type season. I do love the winner, and um, was one of my two winner picks all season long.
You
Every
don't get credit for two. You don't
I
get
know. So
credit for one and two.
I unfortunately can't take full credit for me saying that Kyle's my winner pick because he was always my number one or number two winner pick throughout the whole season. But I do think if I had to choose two every episode, every season, and it was always Kyle as one of them and Kyle won, I do want to take some credit, as well as for my fantasy league that I was in, my winner pick for the fantasy league was Kyle and Kyle won.
Mm.
So I got
I was in that
170 points.
I was in that league and I may call a little bit of bullshit.
Mm-mm. No,
No.
I mean,
No.
hey, I told you that Kyle was my winner pick for the league, and
But
then and he won.
but let's be fair. If you can correctly predict a winner for each week, the editing is bad. So,
He had it for sure. I'm very happy for Kyle.
me too.
Yeah, and also for our survivor pool, my girlfriend Lexi ended up taking that home, which was pretty cool. A dynamic
Mm.
duo right there. But
It's like you want me to not give you any more money for these leagues.
hey, this is
Oh,
my first win since Survivor 42, so.
okay. So you don't win it. All right. You don't win one. Your girlfriend wins the other. Okay. Fine. It is what it is.
It is what it is. All right. Well, yeah, let's get into this episode, the finale. And we ended up coming back from the Shaheen tribal, which ends up being a very pivotal point for this final tribal council for Kyle. Um, and we get back, and Kyle and Camilla are very happy that they were able to convince Joe and Eva to flip on Shaheen, which was a great move. And now they have the upper hand on Joe and Eva going into final tribal if they end up going against them, which we saw ended up working out very well for them. Uh, but something I wanted to ask you about that move was Camilla mentioned to Kyle how she thought it was so stupid that Joe did not fact check with Shaheen about if Camilla actually showed him the idol and if Shaheen actually wanted Eva and Joe out. What do you think? Do you think Joe should have fact checked, or do you think it was probably a better move for him to not fact check because then it could possibly blow up the plan and then Shaheen could play his idol if he actually did have an idol?
No, you fact check. You absolutely fact check. Camilla, I'll say this. Great player, dodged a bullet there. Absolutely dodged a bullet. And listening to Joe's exit press, apparently him and Shaheen had a big blow up that day.
Yes, I heard about
A
that, right?
big fight, like obviously nothing physical, but like just yelling at each other and mad at each other. And the emotions of that just let them kind of not talk to each other. And I think Camilla and Kyle played into that perfectly. Kind of
Mhm.
wish we saw it, but
And now he's on season 50.
Yep, he is. And I'm sure we'll talk a lot about that later.
Oh, absolutely. At the end of this podcast, we're going to go over everything Survivor 50, our winner picks are, who we wish we had on the cast, who we wish we didn't have on the cast but do, who we think are going to be early boots, everything.
Oh,
Uh,
it's gonna be
but
fun.
yeah, getting back to Final Five, I do have a question for you regarding Shaheen. So, Shaheen, if they went through with his plan and voted out Eva, blindsided her with the idol in her pocket, and then got Joe out at five. Now Shaheen sits at the end with a combination of either Camilla, Kyle, and Mitch. and there is no move that Kyle and Camilla did to undercut Joe and Eva or undercut Shaheen because they did what Shaheen wanted, even though they wanted to possibly target Joe and Eva at the start of this all, but didn't tell anyone other than those two because there was a secret duo. So it makes it seem like it was Shaheen's plan. Does Shaheen win the game with Joe and Eva out on the jury against possibly Kyle and or Camilla?
This is gonna sound weird. If it's both Kyle and Camilla, I think he has a chance. If it's one of them and Mitch, I don't. Because in that instance, I think he has a very good case. I think Kyle and Camilla still have a solid to good case. The fact that they would have a secret duo the whole game would really benefit them. However, if they're both at the end together, neither's at on the jury vouching for the other. They're kind of just telling the same story. And then I think Shine actually has a good shot of picking up the rest of those votes that might be split between Kyle and Camilla. He's on, if it's him, say Camilla and Mitch, and Kyle's on that jury being like, yeah, Camilla and I worked together. We basically ran this game, and then you did what we wanted toward the end. I think Camilla still takes it or Kyle still takes it, but it's definitely closer. And
Yeah,
what a more interesting ending that is, honestly.
I know. I know. That would have been very interesting. Um, or honestly, an interesting would have been Kyle, Camilla, and Joe. Or even Kyle, Camilla, and Eva, since Eva did get second place technically. Like
Yeah,
Kyle, Camilla, Eva could have been interesting.
I mean, according to our jury, I think that actually is less interesting if what they said is true and that Camilla would have won the game against anybody.
That's what I heard from the
And that
jury
is
too.
such a bummer.
I know. But
Um,
honestly, I'm kind of shocked. Like I know Camilla did play a great game, but I would have expected Kyle to win against Camilla if it was them against each other.
I think part of it is that one, I think you maybe more expect this out of Kyle. You don't really expect this out of Camilla.
Mhm. And Camilla didn't, she was not part of the majority alliance other than getting included in the six very late in the game. So I
And
guess a
I
lot of the underdogs kind of respected Camilla's game more than the people who were in the majority. And maybe
yeah,
that's Kyle
and
won.
I think if I'm on the jury, I'm like, okay, so Kyle was kind of given all the information, and Camilla still got in. Camilla still managed to know everything that was happening without being in the big alliance that was targeted.
Right.
I mean, although let me ask you this, and we can then move on after.
Yeah.
If you are in Camilla's spot, would you rather, if you're getting taken out at four, have no find out you have no chance of winning, or been like, oh, if you had just won this fire challenge, you would have won the game? What is better in your opinion?
Absolutely getting taken out and knowing I would have won if I made it to the end.
Yeah,
Because
I
she didn't do anything that she can really regret other than coming into the game being a fire expert.
yeah,
That's really it because she tried her best in the immunity challenge. Um, and she went to the end with people like the jury said that she would be able to beat no matter who she was up against.
yeah.
So at that point, she knows that nobody's taking her to the end unless she wins immunity. So there was a very good chance she was going to fire. So if she was better at fire, that would be, I guess, her only regret in the game.
Yeah, she should definitely be proud of herself either way. I just think like for me, obviously I would rather be like playing the game where I have a chance to win. But if I heard that, I would not be able to sleep for a while. Knowing, oh, if I had just made this fire, like, and I would have had been the sole survivor, and like that would kill me. But I think
I guess no matter what,
yeah,
if you don't win the game, something's gonna kill you.
oh yeah, but
Because I feel like if
being
you were found out you would have lost no matter what if you made it to the end, then you're not just thinking like, oh wow, like if I had just won that fire making challenge, I would have won. You're thinking like, oh my God, so like what if I did this wrong and this wrong and this
yeah,
wrong? Like so there's probably so many more things
but
that caused you not to win that you did wrong that could keep you.
there's a chance though. I think when it's a bunch of things, it's a lot easier than it's one thing.
I guess no, you're right. I guess
One little thing breaks differently. And for Camilla, it's either she doesn't drop the ball in some motion, or she makes fire before you like, you know.
right, that too. Yeah, too.
But you know, alas, I will say if they don't make that move on Shaheen, it's very interesting.
If they don't what?
if Kyle and Camilla don't make that move against Shaheen at 6.
Well, what if, yeah, like what if they just went with the plan to vote out Mitch? Then at final five, Camilla wins. Do do they take out Kyle or do they take out Shaheen? I think they still take out Shaheen, so I think it's very similar, except for the fact that maybe Joe and Eva have now a better chance of beating Kyle in the final three because Kyle doesn't have this move of taking out Shaheen under his belt, which I think was what put him over the edge
Yeah.
because
Well,
that's what he was able to do to make him have a one up on Joe and Eva. But if he didn't have a one up on Joe and Eva and every move that was made was just with them, I feel like one of them probably would have won. Probably Eva, maybe. I don't know.
maybe I don't know, but this this vote overall is such an interesting case of do you take out the final three GOAT because they're taking up a spot, or do you, even if they're not like fully on your side, or do you try to just drag them to the end anyway?
Well, who
And
are you thinking that was?
who do I think the GOAT was?
Yeah, in this
I
scenario.
still think it's Mitch. I mean, I know this people say he's likable and all that. How is he winning this game though? What are we seeing that to me make would make any of us or anybody on this jury be like Mitch is winning this game? And then maybe that's the editors.
Well,
Maybe that's the editors.
I think it is the editors a little bit, but here's the thing. I do think that Mitch would have had, in my opinion, or as me as a juror, no chance of winning. But what we have to think about is Mitch was able to make it to the final five, right? And have good enough connections to where even when he was targeted, nobody actually wanted to vote him out.
Yeah.
So imagine the roles of Eva and Mitch are flipped, and now Mitch is in the end instead of Eva. Eva got second place, got two votes, had a great speech at the end, right? And was thought of as just a loyal player who put her heart and soul into the game and made really good connections with a disability. Now, that's the same thing for Mitch. Mitch had really good connections with people, made it to the end, and had these great connections while also having a disability. But people were pissed off at the Joe and Eva duo. People were not pissed off at Mitch. So I feel like Mitch would have gotten more votes in a final tribal than Eva. And if that's the case, that's like one or two votes away from a win.
I just don't disagree that he gets more votes because this jury felt still felt pretty game focused, and I think they would have been like, Mitch, what did you do? What was your big move? At least Eva's points to getting Star and Mary's votes was like she's like, I played a different kind of way.
Well, like
It was more
for
straightforward and
example,
honest, but at least she played. She points to the advantages she had, that she had agency in the game, at least somewhat.
mhm. I guess
Mitch, I think, is almost drawing dead. And with this kind of a jury, maybe like I think an old school jury, actually, Mitch does very well. Go way back, Mitch does well. This kind of a jury, I don't know if he draws dead. Maybe he gets a vote. I don't see much more than that.
but think about the who he would be up against. I don't think he wins against Kyle or Camilla, but if they end up knowing that Joe and Eva both have idols and maybe it's not a good idea to go after Joe or think that Joe is beatable. So now instead of they going after Mitch, let's say they vote out Kyle and then Camilla goes out at fire. Now we have Mitch, Eva, Joe at the end. I still think people were not wanting to vote for Joe or Eva. And so if Eva and Mitch have similar stories and Mitch is a little bit more liked, he
But
wins the game.
the thing is,
Right?
he's a little maybe a little bit more liked, but he has what he, at least Evie can be like Joe and I were like played a dominant game. Mitch, I that's where I still think Mitch. I don't want to say draws dead, but I worry
Uh-huh. I
about him.
still
And
think in
like,
that scenario, Evo maybe wins by one
um,
vote, maybe. I think it would be
hmm.
close between her and Eva. I mean him between her
I think
her
Joe.
and Mitch, but
I will say that is actually a closer final three than it could be, but
yeah. Like Eva I
I
thought was a zero vote finalist. And then
oh
she comes out of nowhere and gets second place. And I mean that's how Lexi won the survivor pool, I was telling her like, please do not choose Joe as your third place finisher and Eva as your second because Joe is obviously getting second place, and she stuck to her guns and ended up being correct.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I thought for sure there was no way Joe would get third place. So
Yeah, that was the biggest shock. I was like, really? But, credit to her. Played She played this jury decently, but I I am looking at this jury a little bit and I'm like, Cedric still vote like say it's Joe, Eva, Mitch, and then we can move on after this. Cedric still votes for Joe.
I think
Uh
Cedric might actually vote Mitch, I wonder.
maybe
I don't know. But I mean,
maybe. What
like everyone was saying jokes about him, which I think is hilarious, that when he got voted out, everyone was saying that even though they wanted say on the jury, they're happy that Cedric is the mayor of Ponderosa because the way he's been voting all game so chaotically, like everyone was predicting that there would be no zero vote finalists because he would be the one person to vote for third place. And he did it. And I was dying laughing. I was like, there's no
uh
way that the one vote for third place was Cedric, and everyone was making jokes about that, and it actually happened.
Cedric. What a guy.
What a voting
Uh
record this season.
oh my God, I should need to look at his voting record.
He,
Hold on. I was like
three
Cedric's
episodes
voting. I'm
in,
gonna
voted for everybody on his original tribe.
hold on. Yeah, I have over here Steph, Kevin, and then that one vote. Mary, say Justin. That voted Bianca. He actually was in the majority every time. I had to give him credit there.
He's always in the majority, but he always makes the wrong move.
Yeah, then Charity and Shaheen, and then the vote for Joe. Um, yeah, that's interesting, but I I think I think Camilla is in a better spot if she votes out Mitch there. I do.
Camilla is in a better spot with the Mitch vote. Like,
Oh, you have to get either Joe or Kyle out there. I really think that. Like I know, and that was the one part of her game that I think is flawed, where she let her heart get involved, and I get it, and I'm gonna blame Kyle. I'll blame Kyle too for taking Joe to the end. It worked. I still don't think it was a great move. The I know you want you or Kyle to win. It needs to be I need to win, and if Kyle wins, if I don't win and Kyle wins, great. But it should be you winning or nobody else. And that move, I think, I don't know. It was so weird just seeing Mitch get taken out. I'm like, what are we doing?
yeah, I think there's two things that are interesting to think about with that is the fact that Camilla at Final Four says to Kyle, like, hey,
Oh
if I win immunity, I'm putting you in fire because I don't think I have a better chance winning if you're not there.
God, that bothered
Automatically doing that means that well, you know that Joe and Eva are taking each other. And so now you're saying like, oh, if you think that we have our best chance is not to be with each other, then I guess we have to throw each other into fire. So she pretty much just made it so that no matter what, she has to win immunity or she's going into fire. And I don't know why you would do that. I understand you can still be loyal to your ally by telling them after the immunity challenge, hey, I have to send you in,
it.
rather than telling them before the challenge. Because maybe, even though Kyle said he was thinking the same thing, what if he wasn't? What if he actually was perfectly fine to bring Camilla to the end because he thinks he's going to win?
And
Then then Camilla wins. Like I think it was silly to tell Kyle that to guarantee that she has to win or she's going into fire.
it was for somebody who played a great game, and I think Camilla played a really great game. That move, that bothered. I was like, one, never give the hypothetical. Never give a bad, I'll rephrase it. Never give a bad hypothetical.
Yeah.
Because if you win, tell them, fine. At that point, all right, it happened. If you lose, Kyle don't need to know. Hey, Kyle, I was taking you. Lie. Camilla's so good at lying the whole game. And then right there, I'm like, and listen, I got 25 days, all that stuff. Just,
Yeah.
she almost landed the plane. She was there.
Because then if you take out Kyle there at Final Five and now Mitch is there, I'm pretty sure Mitch takes Camilla to the end.
What if you take Joe out though?
Well, if you take Joe out at five,
Yes, then Kyle's loyalty to Joe gone. Eva's loyalty gone right there.
I wonder. So then Kyle would
Kyle's
probably take Mitch to the end.
Mitch, maybe he takes Eva.
I don't think he would take Eva. I think Eva, he probably thinks has the best chance of beating Camilla at fire.
Probably, probably, but it is interesting how he goes from there.
Hmm. I also
You
don't
know,
think Eva is going to be the one to ask Kyle, who are you saving? Kind of like Joe did. Like very bluntly, Joe was like, all right, so if you win, who are you saving? And then
yeah,
kind of forced Kyle's hand to be like, all right, like I swear on my life, I'm taking you. Which is another thing that I wanted to ask you about.
yeah.
If so, Kyle ended up swearing on his life to Joe that he would take him to the end and then ends up taking him to the end. Now, do you think the reason why he took him to the end? I know it's both of them, but which one is the primary reason? Is it because he swore in his life that he would take him and wanted to stick to his word? Or was it that he didn't want Joe winning at fire and having another move on his resume? Because Joe was the best person to beat Camilla in fire. And the fact that it was closer than it probably should have been in the fire making challenge, if Kyle really didn't want Camilla there, he probably should have put Joe into fire to guarantee it. But he did give him his word and it would give him a boost on his resume, on Joe's resume. So what do you think
I,
was the primary driver to saving Joe?
I think it was the loyalty thing,
You do.
which is funny that him and Camilla were also so loyal to each other. But him and Camilla were loyal playing the game, and I think at that point, once Camilla kind of gave him the okay of sorts,
Hmm.
of like, hey, we're done. We 25 days, it's been great. Mono and mono now. Good luck. His like number one ally was Joe, and I mean, I think Eva was not very far at number two. So I don't know if it was because he swore on his life, because when you say it like that, that gives me the had he not done it, he would have done something differently. I don't think so. I think he made the promise to Joe and he stuck to it.
Hmm.
And swearing on his life was the nice little piece of gravy.
Yeah,
Um,
I also think that because I don't think he's necessarily thinking like if Camilla makes it to the end, I've lost the game. I think he's thinking if Camilla's not here, I win the game. But if Camilla's there, then it's not a guarantee, but it probably is a guarantee that one of us wins, is probably what he's thinking. So
yeah,
I
I
think
think
he
he's
thinks he wins in any scenario, but I think it's much easier if Camilla's not there. So I think he's okay with Camilla winning, but he prefers not to, and that's why he doesn't guarantee that Camilla goes home by sending in Joe. I think he wants to stick to his
interesting.
loyalty, especially because he was disloyal to some people throughout the game. He wanted to have moments that he can show the jury, even though I was deceitful at times, I was also true to my word. And I think that went well for him.
That went well with this cast. I think that definitely helped. Like he appealed
Yeah.
to the game bots well, and he appealed to the honesty brokers well. Let me ask you real quick: would you swear in your life, and would you, in if you're playing the game, and would you go back on that?
Um, I probably, if absolutely necessary, I would, but I would not go out of my way to make a promise like that. Like
Okay.
if I was going home and it was really close to the end, and if I didn't like swear on my life, then I would for sure be voted out. But if I did, then I would for sure stay in the game and have a good chance of winning. I probably would do it because it's just a game.
Yeah.
But um, I wouldn't do it just for fun. Like
Yeah. No,
like for
that's
a
fair.
simple thing like I swear on my life that you're my number one ally when maybe like I'm planning to to vote you out at the final six or something like that. Like I wouldn't do that. But like if I needed to make a deal to get myself further, knowing I'm dead in the water, I'd do it.
Yeah. It means nothing to me. Go ahead. I'll
Yeah.
do whatever.
It's a game at the end of the day, and you're just
Steven, I
trying to
love you.
get
I'd
back
swear on
on.
you.
Oh yeah,
I'd swear on your life. Yeah, absolutely.
I swear on your life too.
Great, go for it. You can
Perfect.
swear my life, lie.
That's the
I
next
don't.
LRG I'm in. I'm gonna be like, I swear on
Oh, and an LRG.
Vino's
Come
life.
on. I give you. I'd save it for the real
No,
thing.
no, no, no. LRG to win
Where's my?
to win a
What
hundred
is?
bucks. I
Well,
swear.
then that $100 better take me to dinner then. Okay.
Okay, all right,
That you know what? Then fine.
all right, cool, 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 perfect.
LRG. Oh, Steven. Oh, Steven.
So what was interesting with the final five is we didn't really see this get to play out because Camilla won immunity, but Joe and Eva wanted to target Camilla and not Mitch, thinking Camilla was the bigger threat than Mitch.
And they were
So,
right.
they were right. What would have happened? Joe and Eva would be targeting Camilla. Would Mitch fold and vote out Camilla, or would then they have to try to get Joe out at that point, and they have to lie to Eva and Joe to try to convince them otherwise because Kyle needs Camilla in the game, and Mitch is loyal to Camilla and doesn't want to vote that way. Mitch has been trying to get out Joe this whole time, so probably those three would vote together for Joe, but then Eva has an idol, and I think that could have been a chaotic vote, and I would have loved to see that.
The real question is who wins immunity instead of Camille, but and
I guess you're right at this point.
this is gonna sound mean, would Mitch fold? We've seen that every week. The answer is yes. Mitch would fold like a lawn chair.
If Joe won immunity, he would fold. But
Yeah,
if
I don't think it matters. I think Mitch would fold no matter what.
what if Mitch won immunity?
Ooh. That means he'd be playing the game, which would be a first. No, I'm kidding. Listen, I bet Mitch was doing more than we saw out there, but he drove me insane.
I feel like at that point he has to vote Joe because the alternative is Camilla going home, which would happen if Eva
Oh,
plays title on Joe anyway.
I think
So
he lets Camilla go home, honestly.
no.
No, I do. I think Camilla goes home in that spot because I think he was tighter with Joe than he was Camilla. Mistake, yes, I think it happens.
Interesting.
And I'm
I don't
so
know.
mad.
He's been trying to get Joe out for like weeks.
Eh, eh. He was trying to get Joe out. He was, if Joe goes home, great. If he doesn't, oh well.
I don't know. I feel
Trying
like
is a strong word,
I feel
but
like at that point it's can Kyle and Camilla lie, or can Kyle lie good enough to Joe and Eva
I don't
to
know.
make that happen? Or does
But
Kyle realize, like, hey, I want one of us to win, but it might be better to just guarantee that you go home at final five and then I just get through the final four in order to win the game because he still thought that he had a better chance of beating Joe and Eva. And he also uh, felt very loyal to Joe. So to the point where he was planning on truly taking him to the end of the game. Um, so I don't know. I think it's not Mitch who we have to worry about folding. I think it's Kyle. We might have to
mm,
worry about folding on Camilla at final five. Because
you,
Camilla's thinking, I can't vote out now that she won immunity, I can't vote out Kyle because I want one of us to guarantee win. And if he goes out here and I go out at fire, that means one of us is not winning the game.
and
So
you
we
know
need to
what?
risk
Tough
it.
shit.
I know.
As
But
much.
I understand where she's coming from. I know it's a game for $1 million, and so
Oh
that
yeah,
it should not matter. But because you want the best chance of winning, but at the same time, $1 million can really change someone's life. And if you're not going to win it, you also want someone who you're really close to win it. So it's like it's a back and forth. It's like I
it
really want to
is.
win this, but I would hate for one of us not to win, and then that kind of clouds your judgment. And I've had that happen before in LRGs that I've played much lower scale, but I've gotten to a point where like I have risked my game twice in LRGs at the very end because if I made a move against my closest ally, then I might end up losing, and now someone who has been against me the whole game ends up winning. And I want one of us to win. And then there was one time I made the move to take them out, and I ended up losing. And then there's one time that I did not make the move to take them out, and I ended up losing. So I was like,
Yeah,
it's tough to
it is. Oh, I'm not denying that's
deal with
tough
that.
and all that, but maybe Camille played such a game where I expect so much of her that it just kind of caught me off guard. But all I will say about the Final Four, I'm so fucking mad at the producers for spoiling, or not producers, the editors or whoever made the previews for the episode. I don't know if you saw before
Right.
the
I didn't
finale.
watch it because I didn't want those spoilers, but what
I
was
did not
spoiled?
want him either. And then I heard there were spoilers, and I was like, all right, let me try to avoid them. And then I see somebody showed me Mitch with an immunity, Camilla with an immunity necklace. I'm like, all right, fine. So
Really?
that
Wow.
took that out completely, like, by accident. Like no one, the person didn't mean to. And then the next thing is like, Oh, so someone else said to me, "Oh yeah, they showed Mitch on the jury," and I'm like, "Of course they did." And
Wow.
I'm watching that episode. Like, granted, they made it very obvious, like edit, like during. I was like, "There is no intrigue here. These spoilers have to be right." So, uh, I'm still so mad at
Yeah,
the.
I guess the spoilers, it was going to be so obvious anyway that it didn't matter, but I
But how do
felt
you
that it
do that?
shouldn't be
Also,
spoiled.
Camilla's immunity win meant nothing then.
Right,
That
like
wasn't up.
that was big because that was a big comeback win. Like no one would have expected that unless it
No,
was spoiled.
literally, I was like, how the hell does she do this? And then she did. I'm like,
Like
damn it! Like, I'm
she was
happy
still
for
in the
her.
net or something when Joe is already at the puzzle. I don't know.
I almost wanted to be like, hey, just so you know, Camilla wins this from the net. But
Yeah.
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 And
Uh-huh.
then Final Four.
And oh, and before we get to the Final Four officially, there was the challenge advantage that they could compete
Oh,
for before the challenge. Eva ends up winning that. Kyle almost did, but just put in the wrong word. And Eva now with another advantage, the safety without power, the idol, the challenge advantage. She's got all the advantages. And the
and the,
advantage she gets, though, which I thought was kind of unfair, was they allowed her to not have to throw one ball into a hoop that was barely that far away from the platform they were throwing from. I thought that was not a good advantage. I think it should have been much better than that. Literally, everyone else made it within their first three tries. So it literally gave her maybe like 15-second extra head start, which is nothing for a puzzle. So I thought that the advantage should have been when she gets to the combination lock, it's already unlocked. I think that would have been the best advantage because at that point it's also luck. You could get it on your first try or your sixth try because there's six combinations. So I think that would have been the most fair advantage
that
to
like
give
when
somebody.
you have to solve all three numbers, but when you get them, you're told the order or something.
But when you up,
Like, so the combination lock is the three numbers, right? If I
yeah.
remember, you're told the order. Once you get what the three numbers are, like I would say you should have to figure out the numbers on your own, and then you're told the order.
Right,
I don't,
right.
but yeah,
Yeah,
I
something like
but
that.
I don't hate it. I'll be honest. I don't like this twist. It's fine, but I'm like I'd err on the side of making these advantages small, like less powerful than more. So it didn't really bother me, and it just kept Eva's track record of wasting advantages going. So,
Yeah, honestly. Um,
but yeah,
So yeah, I mean, we pretty much Mitch was a jury threat according to everyone else. I feel like a
I
lot
still
of
don't
Final
believe it.
Five
I still
people.
don't believe it.
Well, it's interesting. I think it could be the editing too, because, but I don't know, or it could just be that their loyalty to Joe and Eva shielded them and made them think Mitch was a bigger threat than he actually was. But I feel like in the new era, the Final Five boot is either an insanely obvious big threat that is so obviously going to go home based on the edit of them being the biggest threat, or it's someone who is perceived as a jury threat that has a very small edit. It's always one of the two.
That's a good point. Yeah,
44, Lauren, for example, in 44, was talked about as this huge threat to win the game. And we have barely saw anything from her and thought she was going to be a zero vote finalist or at least a very small vote second place finisher. And she ends up being one of the biggest threats to win, and that's why they got to get her out at Final Five. And
yeah,
yet, on the other side of the coin, there's Maria, who everyone knows they need to get out because she's obviously the biggest threat, and we all know it. And
yeah,
she ends up going out. So it's one or the other in this game.
yeah. And like 45 is Julie, who is more the latter. 46, yeah,
Uh-huh.
Maria. Yeah. So
Exactly.
yeah,
So,
but
so yeah, I thought that was interesting. But yeah, Mitch goes out in a pretty obvious vote. Not much there. And then we have Camilla and Kyle, like we said, Camilla telling Kyle that I'm not going to take you to the end, and I think we're better off going against not going against each other. Primarily, not only because they played very similar games, but they're afraid that they're going to split votes. Like it could be a 4-2 vote where they lose, or a 4-3-1 vote where they lose. Um, and they didn't want to risk that. They wanted to know that one of them is getting the other person's jury vote, and that their games will not be so similar to the point where jury members have to choose and they can just all be like, okay, like the Camilla slash Kyle game is the best game, so we're going to vote for whichever one is in the final three.
Yeah.
Um, so I understand where she's coming from. I just didn't think it was smart to tell Kyle because there was still a chance Kyle would have brought her to the end, I think.
Lie.
You should, yeah. I mean, at this point they're both gamers. They both know that they want to win the game, but they want one of them to win. So if Camilla didn't say that, and then after winning immunity told Kyle, "I'm so sorry, I can't have you at the end. I have to put you in fire," he would absolutely understand. He
And
would feel betrayed because you didn't tell him before the immunity challenge
and
started.
and even if he didn't understand, you still have to make the move.
Right.
It's tough. It's the tough part of the game.
Right. Right.
But yeah.
Exactly. And we see some motion come back.
Yes.
Honestly, I love some motion. I still want the Final Four challenge to be willpower, but if it's not going to be willpower, I think this is the next best. I don't want it to be a puzzle. I don't want it to be balancing, to be honest. I think those are better for like the middle challenges,
Yeah.
immunity challenges, like middle of the season. I think Samotion's great because it's all about focus. And if you really want it enough, you will stay focused. And if you lose focus on the $1 million for 1 second, your ball would drop. So I really like that challenge for a Final Four challenge, especially because I think like we've talked about many times on this podcast with you, the willpower for Final Four is the ideal challenge, but not when fire making is guaranteed. Because at that point, if you lose the immunity challenge, but you're good at fire, you're fine. Um, so it gives you less of an incentive to put all your willpower into the immunity challenge. Um, Especially if the person who ends up winning the challenge you know is going to take you to the end, then you don't have to worry about the other two people voting you out. So pretty much it's really if it's a vote, I want it to be willpower. If it's the fire making, I want it to be some motion. And I'm happy we got it again here for Survivor 48. And I'm pretty sure that's going to be the Survivor 50 Final Four challenge as well, because we did have the fan vote in the hands of the fans, and I'm pretty sure majority of people chose Samotion out of the three options that were shown. So I think we're going to see it again very soon.
I that is one of the fan votes where if I don't get my way, I will not complain at all. Like I'd like some motion. I didn't even vote for some motion. Now I'm coming around to it after seeing it. I'm like, I can live with it.
Which one did you vote for? The a puzzle where you have to roll up the ball?
I think I did that.
I
I do
like that
like
one too. As long as it's not the obstacle course, I'm
just
okay.
just give me a variety. Honestly, as long as we don't have some motion every season, we don't have Final Four fire making every season. Like mix it up and
Well, yeah,
well,
we're not going to be. I'm pretty sure there's going to be a vote at Final Four
I don't
for
know. I don't trust the casuals.
season 50.
I don't trust the casuals.
No,
And
but
the wording they put on the polling gives me no faith.
yeah, they definitely tried their best to convince people to do it the way that they
Oh,
want it to be
the,
done. But I do think
the,
a lot of Survivor fans are gonna just do what they want.
the amount of people, not even for that one, but for other things, I had to literally reread the rules to them because they didn't vote. They voted for something different than what they thought was insane. Like the one of like, oh, do you want Twist to have like strategic, dynamic, or minimal power? Remember, I was like, I like strategy. I'm like, yeah, but you hate all the twists, don't you? Yeah. I was like, strategic means there's more power, not less. It's
Mhm.
like, oh. And I'm like, these sneaky motherfuckers.
Yeah, yeah. You
But
got to read the fine print though, because like it did explain
but
what
no one's
what
reading
it
the
meant.
fine print.
I don't know. I mean, the fine print's not that fine. It's like it's pretty big. Like I feel like
People, Stephen, people don't read anymore. Let's be real. I work for a publishing company. Nobody freaking reads. It's amazing.
if it's about Survivor, maybe they will.
You and I will.
True.
Grandma sitting on
Uh,
a couch who we're lucky if she pulls out her phone, who is gonna look at the season 50 cast and be like, oh, I recognize that guy. Maybe getting Kyle. We going back to Genevieve, be like, who's that? Who? So,
yeah.
which is a fun game in itself. Find a casual in your life and show them the 50 cast and see who they recognize.
Yeah, because I'm always I feel like a lot of times I'm always surrounded by people who are like really big Survivor fans. There I do talk to a lot of casuals about Survivor, like here and there,
Mm.
and but I feel like they have similar views to me in terms of like what we think about like the fan voting. So I don't know. I
We'll
feel
see.
confident that a lot of the stuff I voted for is going to be what ends up happening, but except for the fire making. Fire making, I think, will end up not being there.
We'll
But
see.
to
We'll
be
see.
honest,
But
for a season 50 cast, I'm okay with no fire making because the chances that there's going to be one big threat and three non-threats at the final four are pretty slim. I
yeah,
think there are going to be at least three threats possibly to win the game at final four. So then I think that will make it really interesting who is seen as the bigger threat, who did a good job with threat level management, but also good enough job to be able to be the front runner going into the final three after
yeah,
getting out the person they
yeah.
get out at final four. So it'll be interesting for sure, and
I
it
know they're not going to
good for
tell
Rick
them.
Devens
Yeah, I know they're not going to tell them beforehand. This is the one thing I want the players to know. I want them to find out day one if there's fire making or not, because I always say,
I
and
think
it's
they
why it
might
pissed. I don't. I feel like Jeff is like, we're not going to tell them. I don't know. They should know this. I don't like the, ooh, are they going to have it or not? Let them know the game that they're playing.
because then
Obviously,
they
twist
can
in there.
like plan their strategies from it.
Exactly. But just I just did some math really quickly. 17 of the 24 people have played 35, 35 or later, so they have seen fire.
Mm,
Seven of these people have not, which is a crazy thing to me on what should be a cast representative of the whole show.
yeah, yeah,
And one of them being Aubrey, who was technically on a season with fire, um, but her first wasn't. So actually, if I'm really correcting myself, six of them have not been on a season at
oh,
all
because
with
you didn't
fire.
count her. Okay.
I originally was like, yeah, I technically took Aubrey out, but yeah. So six
Well,
of
I
them.
mean, most of these players did get close or to the fire making challenge
Yeah. So,
who did compete and did have a fire making
but
challenge.
yeah.
Also, Suri is probably one of those six also, right?
So he did like yeah, did participate in a challenge, that's right.
Yeah.
And right as you said that my phone went off, thinking of someone else who is slightly whose name is slightly mispronounced. But yeah, actually that is crazy. What did you think about leading into our final four for our making this season with somebody who is going to be on season 50 and Camilla?
Yes.
They're,
I liked this fire making challenge because I feel like I mean, we kind of had an idea that Eva was probably going to win, but like I think the editors did a better job making it not super obvious who was going to win. I feel like in the past, like a few seasons, they heavily show one person as it's impossible for them to make fire, and heavily show one person that they are so good at making fire, and it's always the other way around. Whoever was bad at practicing fire end up winning
exactly.
and the person who's so confident ends up losing. This, both of them were not confident, and both of them eventually got fire before they went to actually do the fire making challenge. So they kind of did a good job not telling us exactly who would make it. So I liked that about our fire making challenge. I also liked how there was Eva coming back from a bad fire, how like it almost burned through the rope and then it came back down, but then she built it back up. I really wanted Camilla to, and then Camilla got a spark but couldn't keep it. Um, if she had kept that spark, that would have been even more exciting.
Yeah.
Because then it would have been really close. Because Eva got it very shortly after that spark from Camilla.
I would have felt so bad for Eva if she lost that fire making, but I would have been so happy.
No, 100%. Yeah,
Oh
absolutely.
man. But
Uh, but yeah, so and also speaking of the whole like practicing fire, Eva, when she was practicing fire, has another one of her episodes where she's like really overwhelmed. She can't get this fire started. She starts like screaming, crying. Um,
ugh. And
And
then,
Kyle's feeling bad that he's putting her in this position, but he
yeah.
understands it's a game and he has to do what's best for his game, but it sucks. And then Joe goes over to calm her down
Uh,
again, teaching her how to make fire. And
and
so it's
Camilla
a nice.
during the challenge.
Hmm?
Camilla during the challenge comforting her. That was so sweet.
Yeah. That was nice.
I do love her line of I can't even catch a flame.
And I think it was, I don't think that was a misstep on her part, honestly.
No, I don't think it, with all
I
due
don't
respect, I
think
don't
it
think it
really like,
mattered.
oh my God, Camilla said like you can do this. I'm done stressing about this. I'm done being
Yeah, yeah,
overwhelmed. I'm done having the start of an episode. I'm just gonna
yeah.
get back to fire. Like I think that was just encouraging words. It was nice to see Camilla's personality. I don't think
But
it affected anything.
would I have begrudged Camilla if she said nothing? No, I wouldn't either.
Right.
So,
So it was, yeah, it was really nothing. It was just
but,
a
but,
little insight
but,
into more of her personality. That was
by the way, when we were talking about fire making earlier, I just did some, we also forgot about Stephanie who did fire. The only
right.
person ever did. So what's funny,
A lot of fire.
taking, how many people do you think on the 50 cast have made fire on Survivor in a challenge? Out of our 24, out of our 22, because Rizzo and Savannah, we have no idea if they do or don't.
Right. Um, so okay, well you said
Just give me a number, like even if you don't have to go through it.
four?
Six.
Six. I thought you said
Six have actually done a challenge, fire making challenge.
who has done a fire making challenge? Okay.
Yeah.
Only six, okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Stephanie and Palau when she went down to a tribe of one.
Right.
So
Three.
Suri at Final Four of Panama, and then Mike
Camilla.
White in David versus Goliath.
Wait.
He actually won it. Devon's in Edge of Extinction lost it.
Right.
Jonathan in 42 lost his, and then
Right.
Camilla lost hers.
Okay.
So the only people to actually win a fire making challenge on this entire cast are Stephanie and Mike White. Which is actually crazy to
Damn.
think about.
Okay.
It's crazy to me how many avoided it.
You know what I want? If they, I think if they are going to have no fire making challenge at the final four, like a guaranteed one, I know there will be if there's a tie, but if there's not a guaranteed fire making, I want them to make a throwback to earlier seasons, because I think they've done this in earlier seasons, and have one of the immunity challenges for individual immunity, a fire making challenge.
Oh God.
That would be cool. That'd be pretty cool.
If you want to make it part of a challenge, I can maybe live with that.
Sure, part of a challenge, and like instead of a puzzle, you have to start making a fire.
I can live with that. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I
Okay.
wouldn't mind one
It,
season where I don't see fire, but fine.
no,
Fine.
Survivor is all
Fine.
about fire. You just, as long as it's not Final Four, I think you like what I feel like rock drawing is exciting, but I also think having a twist where um it's a double elimination, but the two people eliminated have to face off in fire and the winner stays in the game. I think that would also be interesting twist.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, they can't do that in 50 because there's 24 people, and I have no idea how they're going to make that work. They're going to have to do a double elimination every episode.
oh, I have thoughts about that when we
Or
get
maybe
there.
they're going to
There,
have some like 2 hour long episodes where they can fit like two episodes into one and like pretend like it was back to hour long episodes. I don't know.
we'll see.
It's going to be interesting how they do that. Or are they going to at the very start like be like, all right, everyone, here's a here's a wipe off board, like write down who you want to vote out, like kind of like in 27. I don't
I
think
would,
so. That would be crazy, but
you never know.
you never know.
Never know.
Um,
But
so the spots at the fire making challenge were not assigned to anyone. They let them pick. Eva first chooses and says that she'll take the one on the right. And
okay.
historically, the one on the right has the least wind. Should Camilla have said something as a fan of the show, saying that she wanted the right? Should they have decided based on a rock draw.
Here's what with that one, I think the win just depends on the season and the day. But here's what I will say. If I am at that position and my opponent says they want a particular spot, I am taking it from them. For no, I would probably not care. I probably would not care at all.
Mhm.
Anything to give that person an advantage? No, I want it. Fight me for it. And even if it makes it, like, I have to get there. And if it makes this a little bit harder for you, I'm here for it.
It could also just throw them off mentally. Like they really
Yeah.
wanted a certain
And
color and
listen,
now they can't get it, and now they're just they're thinking about not having the color they wanted and superstitions rather than
fine, go it. Yeah. And you know
thinking
what?
about the
Maybe it pisses off
challenge.
the jury. I did explain it tomorrow. You know what? I had to get there. I had to get there. You're good at this. I don't need to give you an advantage. Yeah, no. But I'm also, again, it's a thing where I'm not going to begrudge Camilla for not fighting for whatever spot. Like maybe she wanted the other one. I don't know. I don't really care.
Right. And
But
we
I
saw
do
that
think,
Eva did have wind on, and she was the one on the right, and it did like the wind blew it away and started making the fire go down. So
you know, it is what I feel like we're getting to. Well, the fire challenge is overplayed when we're starting to talk about what spot are they taking.
that's a great point. That's a
Oh
really
my God.
great point.
Well, enough of this.
Yeah.
We've done this now 14 seasons in a row.
Hmm.
That's crazy. Oh my God.
That is crazy.
Wow.
And after this 14th fire making challenge, we're here at the final three.
Oh,
We got
thank God.
Joe, we got Eva, we got Kyle. And the morning of final tribal council, it was a very small scene, but I loved it. It was when Eva reveals that she graduated in 3 years, went into PhD for engineering and fluid and thermal science at Brown. She was a fellow at the National Science Foundation, did research for the Navy, and then Kyle reveals that he went to law school and that he's now been a lawyer for the past 4 years. Joe's face when he saw that, he was just like, what? Like he was so shocked.
Uh,
Hilarious. And they asked him what he is. And he's like, I'm just a fucking fire captain.
oh
I thought it was such
man.
a great scene. I loved it. I've been waiting for the people who were lying about their jobs to finally reveal it. Honestly, I would have revealed it at tribal council, final tribal council for the first time, because not only would I shock the jury, but seeing the shocked faces for the people in the final three would then be like, oh, like even more of a shock to
Oh
the
yeah.
jury because even they didn't know, and you could see that they were impressed. And if the people you're going up against in final three is impressed by you keeping a secret about your actual job, that could give you even more favor. So I thought
Oh
it was
yeah.
great that they were doing it before final tribal. Like for example, there was one LRG Big Brother Hogwarts that I ended up winning that I was playing in, and once we got to the final two, I find out that I had thought that the person I was in the final two with didn't voted to save me when he actually voted me out. And so he could have used that against me when I was talking about a specific move where I thought he saved me, and that could have been big for him. But because he told me ahead of time, I was able to prepare my answer on why it was actually a disadvantage that I turned into an advantage. And that helped me have a really good answer to one of the questions that could have backfired on me. So things like that should never be exposed until you're at Final Tribal Council.
Yeah. Not a huge deal there, but I agree with you. Completely. I was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah, that's less of a big deal than what happened in my season, but yeah,
Yeah. Production would get mad at me if I ever made Final Three and I'd be like, I'm revealing nothing, and they're like, "What? Why don't you now? They can't vote you out." I'm like, "Yes, but I need their shocked faces at Final
right,
Tribal."
right.
They would be like, "No, reveal it now. We need some content besides you guys eating muffins and croissants." Nope, I'm just gonna eat my croissant and chill. They want to tell me shit, go ahead.
Yeah. And speaking of, the whole job thing, I this might not have been that big of a deal, but he got third place, so I think it might have been a contributing factor. At Final Tribal Council, when they were explaining what they actually do to the jury, unprompted, Joe says, "Just for your information, I'm still a dumb fire captain." I don't think that was smart. I feel like you're literally telling the jury that you're dumb and the other two you're next to are smart, which I think is silly.
Yeah.
And I think instead of just saying that you don't have anything to hide, I think if they're talking about their jobs and why it's impressive, he should have talked about how being a fire captain helped him do well in the game. Like
Yeah.
what skills he used from being a fire captain helped him in the game, rather than saying like, yeah, I'm just a dumb firefighter.
There's a point I get he's going for of being a little self-deprecating, which during the game I think is great. But at the
Uh-huh.
end, be like, yeah, okay, I didn't have this like formal education that these two do. Like, I don't have my PhD, I don't have my law degree, but I still got to the end with these two. I still beat all your asses, to quote a great Susme, who I
Uh-huh.
love. And I used my different kind of intelligence than these two might have to outwit, outplay, and outlast all the rest of you. And that's why I'm sitting here.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
But
Self-deprecating is good during the game, but at Final Tribal Council, you need to show your confidence.
be a little, maybe a little self-deprecating if that's actually your personality isn't terrible, but you then got to be like, I'm just this, but look what I
Yeah,
did with
right, right,
that.
right. You want to be self-deprecating in a sense where it's a strategy. Like
Yeah.
you need to say like I was making you all believe, kind of like Eva said. Like I was making you all believe that I was just some dumb jock girl, but in reality, I am
Oh,
extremely smart and a
yeah.
scientist and everything like that. And so
Yeah.
I think that was smart, saying like, listen, I made you guys think I'm this dumb jock, but I'm
Oh,
actually super smart, rather than Joe just saying, just so you guys know, I'm still dumb.
here's what I'll say. I don't think Joe had an amazing final trouble. But I don't think he had a bad
Either.
one. Kyle had a very good one. I thought Eva had a great final trouble,
Eva
honestly.
had an amazing final trial.
Really, really strong, and I'll say earned those
Yeah.
2 votes. But here's the thing with Joe, just to go back to that for a second.
Mhm.
If it's a final two of him and Eva, I think he might win. He might win that face off. But having Kyle in there took away a lot of the votes I think he would get against Eva.
Interesting.
Whereas like we're very seeing Star and Mary are voting for Eva against Joe against Joe and Kyle, probably just voting for her no matter what. Impressed by her answers, all that. Say said obviously Cedric votes. The rest of them, like I think Camilla on that jury votes for Joe. I think Kyle would vote for Kyle, maybe not. But Kyle probably still votes for
No, Kyle
Joe.
would vote for Joe.
More than
I don't,
likely.
Camilla, I don't know who she would vote
I
for.
think she would go Joe. I think Mitch would go Joe. I think Shaheen would go Joe. And
Mitch would go Joe. You think so? Yeah,
yeah,
probably.
but
Okay.
yeah. So I will say, out of the final threes we've had in a while,
Shaheen would vote Eva, I think maybe.
maybe
I mean, we know Cedric would have voted for Joe. Um, and
Chrissy.
Star and Mary did vote for Eva.
Yeah. So they don't
At
change, and
that
then you're
point,
only
it's what? Who are the other people? Chrissy and
Chrissy,
David.
Chrissy, Shaheen, Chrissy, David, Shaheen, Mitch, Camilla.
Okay, so I think it would be up to Chrissy and David. I think one of them would need to vote for Joe. And
I
if
think one of them. I think Chrissy would. I don't think David would.
Okay, so as long as one of them votes for Joe, Joe would
Yeah,
get in a very narrow
but
5-4
yeah,
vote.
but
So
good
yeah.
on. Listen, they all deserve their flowers. I thought they had a good foul trouble, and Kyle did enough. He already started with a big advantage. He did enough to win, and him and having Camilla on that jury back him up was awesome.
That was huge. Yeah, the whole the situation with the Shaheen vote where with Eva explained that it was her move and that it was Shaheen's best move to take out either Joe or Eva in order for him to win, and that's why she needed to strike first. But Shaheen said that Eva's best move was to take him out, not because he wanted them out, but because if he was at the end with them, which was his plan all along, he would beat them. And so that didn't really end up boding well
Mm.
for Eva. And then Camilla with the I got you, and sets him up perfectly. Like, what was your perspective on the Shaheen vote? And him going off saying that Joe and Eva was the most public duo in the game, but not the best duo. Kyle and Camilla were doing
Ooh.
things behind the scenes, in the shadows, including this vote with the Shaheen vote. where he had Camilla lie about seeing the idol from Shaheen and forcing Joe and Eva to vote out the brains of their operation and shocked the jury, especially Eva, he said like actually Kyle and Camilla, like him and Camilla were a duo in this game. Eva's face was what? What?
It for anybody ever being on a at a final tribal council, you need to tame your reactions. And I am very
I
bad at
wouldn't
this.
be able to. I would have done
It
exactly what Eva did if
Oh,
I
I would have probably,
was.
but I would work so hard that whole day. I would probably like be practicing my speech, or whatever, and I would literally be like, nothing can surprise me.
Yeah.
Every single thing needs to be like, okay, or oh, all right. Like even listen again, it's a thing that probably doesn't matter a doesn't matter a ton.
Mhm.
But if I'm giving a big shocked reaction to something, even if it's genuine, that's not helping me. That
Right.
is directly helping the other person. So that's like something a surprise like little lesson I would give to people.
Yeah. It's definitely smart to try
But
to tone that back.
oh, and
Yeah.
another lesson I would give to people: don't be David.
Oh my God, yes.
Don't be David.
David's
Oh my
every
God.
he's just every like 2 episodes he does something fucking hilarious even when he's voted out that just makes everyone start cracking up except this. I mean, this is just laughing like at him, but mostly secondhand embarrassment, to be honest.
This
Like the knock knock joke, knock knock, who's there? Not me. Good job, guys. Like I've been faking this face this whole time. I'm not actually mad. I've been wanting to smile, but I wanted to like really like cold face you, stone cold face you.
Get
This whole
over
time.
yourself,
Oh,
bro.
chill out, dude. Like, oh my God, that was ridiculous. Like, oh, this has been an act this whole time. Like, I've been trying not to smile. Like, and it was you could hear a pin drop.
Oh my God.
Like
Dude,
after he
it's
said that, I don't even think they put music over it. I think they just let the silence happen on the episode.
it was glorious. It was
It was so
glorious.
funny. Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
this cast. Oh my God. Just
But
David's
yeah,
such an idiot, and I'm here for it.
what a
And
great way to end the season 48
get
podcast talking about David
oh
because
my
he
God.
is ninth place, but still a crazy
And
personality.
and there was one more moment that I thought might have been as cringeworthy that came right after we found out our winner. Um,
What was it?
right after Jeff crowns Kyle the winner, and the start he just says, "Let me hug that winner."
Star said that?
No, Jeff said that.
Oh, Jeff said that. Let me hug
Ah,
that winner.
straight up, and I'm like, "Oh, brother." Like, did he say
Bro,
that?
I didn't see that. I forgot about that. Oh my God.
Oh, he straight up said, "Let me hug." Hold on, I gotta get I'm almost certain that's the quote. It's either let me hug or let me get a piece of that winner. And I'm like,
Let me get
I'm
a
pretty sure
piece of that winner.
I think it was let me hug that winner. Oh God, yeah. So but like that's a moment that literally I think slipped under the cracks. Just so
Mhm.
good. This
Maybe
cast,
because
I
sometimes Jeff is just cringy anyway.
oh
So
yeah,
we're used to it, but David is just, he stands out.
Oh Jeffrey,
But yeah, we get
yeah,
Kyle
he did say
Crown.
let me hug that winner. I yeah,
Hug
he
that
did
winner.
it.
Okay.
I'm
Cool, cool,
let
cool.
me hug that winner. But yeah,
Well, that
Kyle
winner
played
wins 5-2 to 1.
in a really great game. And
He did play a great game.
it made the editing of this season make a little bit more sense. And I was happy about that.
Hmm.
Because I went the longest time, especially about midway through the post merge on, I was like, how does Joe not win this game? They love Joe so much. How does he not win this game?
He was edited as a winner. I'm shocked that he made it to the end. The problem is though, I pretty much knew the whole season until the right before the finale where I actually thought he had a chance to win. I thought starting like episode like 1 or 2, I thought he had no chance to win because if he made it to the end even, first of all, I thought he'd be a big threat, but even if he made it to the end, I thought it was going to be a Mike Turner slash coach situation where they played a deceitful game, but told the jury that they played an extremely honest game, and it resulted in them going from the biggest threat going into Final Tribal to losing Final Tribal. I thought that's what would have happened, and it kind of did. I mean, we didn't see that many of Joe's answers because usually the third place finisher gets very little screen time at Final Tribal because they need to fit it all in.
Yeah.
But from what we saw, he didn't go out of his way to say that he lied to anyone. So it kind of did backfire for him a little bit, but not that much because he was already gonna get third place.
I still can't. Going into the episode, if you had told me Joe would be like the way they edited him, the whole, I was like, he's gonna be your quote unquote final three GOAT.
That's crazy. I
It
thought
really is.
Eva was being edited for the final three go.
She really was. And you know what? The editors pulled a little switcheroo on us.
Hmm. I mean,
But
I think honestly, I think everyone, even the jury, was surprised.
yeah,
I think everyone was just surprised at the way Eva spoke and the way she talked about her game.
she
And
played a
some of the
really strong game.
surprises, like the safety without power, she didn't have to play it. And that was a shock to a lot of people. The fact that she was not just a jock and she actually had like a PhD and was studying so many different science stuff and was like Joe said, practically a doctor. Um,
Yeah, Mike.
I think that definitely also helped Eva's case, and just the fact that Joe didn't really have that great of a final tribal. I don't think he had a bad one, but I would in no way, shape, or form say he had a good one. I'd say just below mediocre, um, in my opinion.
I think that's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
But let me ask you
So,
this:
yeah.
where does Kyle rank in your? We'll just say new era winner rankings. He's going through all 48 takes forever.
Right, right. Yeah, the new era, I don't remember exactly where my rankings were last season.
I don't know where I'm writing them right now. I'm gonna say right now he's number two.
Okay, I'm just gonna, yeah, because I know he's up top, so I'm gonna just think about the best winners. I think if we go through,
I
Erica
have
was a lower
I have
tier, Marianne lower tier,
I think
Gabler.
you're wrong about Erica, but still, I think D
And
is number one.
yeah,
You can't.
Erica's definitely better than I thought. I think Erica's probably middle tier, but I still don't put her in the top half. It could be editing, I don't know, but um, I'd say my top ones are Jam Jam, D, and
I think you had
Kyle.
to put.
So
Yeah, I think
Kyle
you had to put.
definitely makes the top three with Jam Jam and D. I think D's is the best. And I think Kyle, yeah, I think Kyle's like neck and neck with Jam Jam, but I think Kyle has a slight edge. I think is number two. I do think it's interesting though, because I think if Kyle doesn't make that Shaheen move, and still wins the game, I think he's middle tier. I think that move really helped him. And I think that's kind of similar to Marianne. Like Marianne, without that move against Omer, was not winning the season.
Yeah, I,
So it's like one big move towards the end can make you a good winner compared to a bad winner or a non-winner, which I think
yeah,
is interesting. But I think Marianne wouldn't have won without the big move. Kyle still would have, but
yeah.
with the right combination of people at the end.
And I'm looking at my list now. I'm like really all eight of these. I'm maybe take out Gabler. Really strong group of winners, honestly.
Yeah.
Like even if I have Kenzie at seven, and I'm like, I still think she played a really solid game.
I'm very upset with her win. I don't think I'll
I get
ever.
it, but
But yeah, I mean, we're about to talk about them, so I'll talk about how much I love him in a second after we're finished with 48. But
yeah.
Charlie, the man, the myth,
Uh,
the legend, I love him so much. I'm so happy that he
I
got
know,
50.
I know
I'm
you
so
do.
excited to see him do well. Apparently, he's been pre-gaming more than anyone else.
He's in
So I
trouble.
don't know how that's gonna
But
bode well for him. I
yeah.
think he's gonna be a threat eventually, but
By the way, any moments you liked from the after show before I know,
yeah,
but yeah,
that's the last thing we're going to talk about before season 50. And that is, there's one thing that I wanted to mention from the after show, and that is that Jeff casually mentioned that Thomas went home with a steal a vote in his pocket. and we got to see everyone's faces and reactions to it. And that we haven't been able to see in the past few seasons because whenever someone has a secret advantage pre-merge and goes home with it, Jeff would never bring it up, such as there was the whole like 2 episode or 3 episode span, maybe even more, where it talked about who was had the green idol in 46, and it caused a lot of people to not trust some of them. And Jem is the one who had the idol, and Jem went home with it. So I feel like it would have been so cool in 46 for Jeff to tell everyone that Jem was the one who had the idol and went home with it.
Jem
And
got a confessional.
what?
I said she finally got that confessional.
Hmm. So I feel like that would have been like perfect for to see everyone's faces on the Green Tribe that finally realized that nobody was lying to them except for Jem. So we got robbed of that, but we got that this time around with Thomas's steal a vote, especially Shaheen, who was Thomas was Shaheen's number one, and the whole like Camilla telling them like Thomas probably has an advantage. I think he's lying to you guys. Them believing him and finding out that Camilla was right and that Thomas did lie to them even though we only saw it for a few seconds before we cut to commercial, I loved seeing Shaheen's shocked face and everyone.
And that gives Camilla's game even more credit in my book because they
Yeah.
still thought she lied to them straight up at the beginning of their relationship. And they still kind of trusted her and didn't really take her out.
Hmm.
So kudos to Camilla again and again and again. Really, really impressive. And then we get, yeah, there wasn't much from the after show that I thought. I will say I'm very happy with 50 that we're getting rid of the after show. Because every time
Yeah.
this
LA
is just
reunion.
this is just a dagger for the people for our losing finalists, and I feel like even for the winning finalists, it's like
Yeah.
you need a second. But then we get 49, and we get some people,
We got the
and
RIZGOD
I
Riz
s-
God baby.
I swear to God. I swear to Riz God, if we have to call him Riz God for a season, and if Jeff calls him Riz God, calling
No,
him
no,
for
I
that
think that was
for
just like a
49 and
professional.
50, I swear I could see it. We called the guy War Dog for an entire season.
I mean,
What's
that's
what's we
fine.
literally call a guy coach now. What's to stop us if this guy is delusional enough to want to be called Riz God, and he's my age, so he could very well be that stupid. Call me Riz God. It could happen, and I
It,
will.
it would it would have been shown as his name.
I mean,
Like
they
whatever they call the person is always what is shown as the cast name. Just like Jelinski was shown as Jelinski, even though that's not his name.
but they haven't showed anything yet, so we don't know.
No, they have. They showed
In
his
the,
name as Rizzo.
I mean, all he says is my name is Rizzo, but I go by Riz God.
No, I mean like when it shows the cast, it shows him when it like explains the cast. It shows
Oh
Riz.
well, not officially. They don't acknowledge his existence at all, or do they? Actually, that's a good question. But I'm really curious to see how they
Oh,
like.
because like not the whole cast has been technically like officially.
Yeah, no, his name is just leaked. Like according to
Okay.
Survivor, that this man does not exist.
Okay. Okay.
The whole 49 cast is just such a mystery, and like it's so funny that we all whatever.
Yeah, and
I mean, it'll be fun.
I
We
think
got
because in season 50 there are 24 people, I think there's going to be 3 tribes of 8 to start. And so if that's the case, we already have D, we have Kyle, who are winners. I think a winner from 49 is going to hop on season 50.
I swear if one of these two win,
I think Savannah's going to win the game
we'll see.
because I
And
don't think
if one of
Scott.
them win the game, I'm gonna be really annoyed that they
I
essentially
think
spoiled it. But
yeah.
I'm already annoyed that we know that these two at least do somewhat well. So we'll see. So what are we talking about 50?
Yeah,
The
let's do
thing
it.
in the background behind me right there. Yeah, there. That's how you point in this. That makes
Uh-huh. The
sense.
cast has been revealed for Survivor 50 in the hands of the fans. And this cast is good, but I don't know if it's called Hands in the Fans, I don't
It,
think this cast really feels like it was in the hands of the fans because a decent amount of these castaways I feel like shouldn't be there.
this
Or less so that some of them shouldn't be there, but there were so many better options for some of these people that it was a little underwhelming, but still will be an interesting season to watch.
let's be real. This should have just been called in the hands of one fan. That one
Jeff
fan
Probst.
being Jeff Probst.
Yeah.
who got basically everybody he wants besides Boston Rob, who said no, and Joe Anglim, who is now problematic to say the least.
Who was the other one?
Joe Anglim,
Okay.
who has gone off the reservation so far that you can't even call him. But if he didn't, I bet you he'd be there.
Yeah. I honestly I would have loved to see Joe again.
But the one thing I want to get out of the way right away, we've had this diversity initiative for 9 seasons now, including 49, and I think it's made the show so much better. And then for 50 to drop the ball like this when already half of your cast is new era, so you don't have a problem getting there. You're telling me you can't find 12 people of color to put on your cast?
Yeah, there were a lot of people of color who I feel like would have been good choices to
Exactly.
bring back. Like I heard that a lot of people are like big on Sean Rector
I love Sean.
and like
I
Vesepia.
Yeah, if we're including winners, Bisepia, Earl.
Earl would have Earl should have came back.
I've heard
Uh,
from the grapevine he might have said no, but either way,
uh,
um, Earl
Todd
should have been
Herzog.
back.
Todd Herzog should have been back.
Oh
If
yeah, and also we don't
winners
have
would
much
be
queer.
back.
We have two queer people on a season of 24 people.
Hmm. Yeah. Um,
So, and no queer women, which is another travesty. Where Natalie Bolton is screaming somewhere.
Natalie would have been a good person to be on. Yeah, so Ozzy is one of them, and who's the other one?
Mike White.
Mike White, right? Okay.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah, people who I feel like should have been casted, or at least not dropped, and it should have been not dropped or casted because some of them might not have been very far in the process anyway.
who you would have put on?
I These are the people I would have put on.
Okay.
Abby Maria
Yes.
would
Yeah.
have been great. Andy from 47 robbed. He should have absolutely been there. He would have been such a great personality on the team.
This is
I'm so
you're gonna
upset.
hate me for this, and this is somebody who knows it, who knew Andy before he was on Survivor, and I think he's a
Yeah.
great human being. I adore genuinely a great human being. No,
No,
not on
no.
50. I want to
I'm
see Andy
obsessed with
play again.
Andy.
Don't get me wrong. I want to see Andy play again, and I think a lot of this cast, if I look at it, I'm trying to give it rose-colored glasses. A lot of these people are people I want to see play again. A vast majority of them. A lot of them are not like the cast of Survivor 50 level. I want to see them.
Maybe Andy would be perfect for like a fans versus favorite season.
I know. I think Andy would be perfect for what I think 40, let's say 48 should have been, which is a new era All Stars.
48 should have been.
Yeah, I think somewhere in the new era, I'd say 47, 48. There should have been a new era exclusive All Star season.
They'll probably do that for season 60. They'll probably do a new era
But
All-Star.
like, I think it should have been leading up to 50, and then you really get like maybe take a few from that and put them on 50. Like, I think this cast is
I
too
think
new
they
era
wanted a
for
bigger
new
sample
movie.
size. I think they wanted
Yeah,
a
but
heroes versus villains type sample size where they had 19 seasons to choose from. I
but
think
they didn't
they'll wait for
with this
60.
with this cast. They haven't. They don't. They technically had 49 seasons to choose from, but not having a single person who debuted from 19 to 31 is just crazy to me.
Yeah, that is crazy.
So, and that's where I think you could have gotten because a lot of this new era, if I'm just looking at this new era group for a minute, a lot of them are people I'm like, I want to see you play again. I would have been thrilled to have you on a new era All-Star season. And then I
But
would
as
probably
like a season 50 season, maybe.
give me the best, I'd say 5, 6, and that's probably already scaling the numbers too high. Take the best 5 or 6 maybe from that All-Star set, put them on 50.
Yeah, I'm kind
Because
of shocked that they did 12 New Era, 12 not, because at that point, do why are you making it Survivor 50 in the hands of the fans? Make it old era versus new era
yeah, and
and just start it as two tribes of however many.
maybe my other gripe that I think they could have done this, one, marketing it that way too. If you're really going to do old era versus new era, why do the first 4 seasons of the new era have one person? And that one person is Jonathan fucking Young, who
That's a
I
good
can't
point.
stand.
Why not?
He's just he lifts heavy things and puts them down.
I
Great.
love it. Yeah,
How
exactly.
many people do we need
Hell
to do
yeah.
that?
Hell
Listen,
yeah, Jonathan. Lift things up and put them down.
great. And I listen, I still don't like the way he like treated Lindsay out there, and he thinks he's,
Okay. Yeah.
listen, he's a little too high on his own supply, but I'll say I'll take him over David. If you had to pick, give me
No,
one
no, they
meathead.
should have put David on this season.
No, oh God,
No,
hell.
they should not have put, if they wanted a muscle guy who wanted to be honest and loyal, they should have put David on the
Well,
season.
we have Joe already. We have Joe
No,
already. We have
no, take
Colby
out
already.
Joe, replace him with David,
No, oh
put him
God,
on the same tribe as
no, 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 no,
Q
no, no, no.
and Coach.
Like the only season that ju and the only new season that justifies having three people from it is David versus Goliath. There is no reason 46 and 48 should have three people each. That is just ridiculous to me.
Really, and then two from 49 too, and we haven't even seen it yet.
Those two better be the best fucking bits of casting I've ever seen. Ever.
Uh-huh.
And I doubt it. No offense.
Yeah. They're
Listen, I
probably
think
just
one.
they really wanted someone on a season really close to 50 for the casual, like the people who just started watching to at least have some people
Yeah,
they love.
and
Um,
and
Makes
and
sense.
that's fine. And you have to give people a reason to watch 49. I think one person would have been fine. Listen, and we've seen this every returning season. The recency bias they show is incredible. Every single time. If you play right after a returning player season, you're probably never getting on Survivor again. Especially with how long they took. Like 41 had like Shanna Ricard. I would be happy with either of them on a season. 42, where's Omer? You want to include winners? Where's Marianne? Like
Hmm.
so many people like
Yeah.
43. Where the hell is Jesse?
Yeah,
I'm
so
still mad at that.
that is ridiculous. Desi absolutely should have been on this
That
cast.
is the
He for sure is a Survivor 50 like new era representative. Like that
Yes, he is not only new era All Stars, he is just like put him
all
on
stars,
50.
all stars. Yeah.
Yes, him, Carolyn. Where is Carolyn? The list can keep going
Yeah. So
of
yeah. So
people.
getting back to my list now that we're listing off people, yeah, like I said, like you said, Jesse, Carolyn, Omer, those were people on my list. And Malcolm should have been
Okay,
on this cast. That I would have loved to see Malcolm again. Amanda Kimmel, I would have loved to
Amanda
see.
was allegedly dropped out herself.
Oh, okay. I thought they dropped
So
it.
I have heard. I mean, granted, who the hell knows with the rumor mill? She has not said anything. The I heard at one point there was a rumor that she dropped out because Ozzy's on the cast. I don't believe that for a second. I think she just dropped out for personal reasons, which
Mhm.
such a bummer. Amanda Kimmel would have been great. I disagree with you on Malcolm. I don't hate Malcolm. I would have been happy. I would have been okay with him on, but I kind of think Malcolm's story is complete
But it's not like the he's only been on.
three times,
Yeah, right. He's okay. He's been on three times, but
and
um,
he's done worse every time.
right. But the when he did bad the last time, it kind of got screwed by a fucked
He
up
did.
twist.
He did.
I
He
I
did.
think
So
if anyone needs to come back, it's him. I think Ozzy, his story's done. I don't think he
uh,
needed to be on this cast.
uh, Ozzy's been done.
He's been done. But so other people, Penner.
Yeah, that's a given.
I would have loved to
I'm
see Penner.
so ma we knew Penner wanted this so bad. Ugh,
Yeah, Rob Sesternino.
another yeah.
That should have been a lock. It's annoying
For
that that's not
for
happening.
what he has done for the show just alone, even
Yeah,
if he never played Survivor, the impact he has had on Survivor, he deserves a spot. That is criminal. Like it should have been up to him to say no.
seriously. There was already three people from 37, but Davey should have been much more highly considered. I think he was, and there's just so many
Yeah,
good players from 37 that they couldn't just have four people. And Jeff said he really wanted Mike White. Um,
and
and you can't not have Christian, you can't not have Angelina. So I guess
yeah.
Davey would be number four
Da
there, but
Davey
Davey would have
definitely
been great.
Davey drew the short end of the stick, and that's the thing of where having a returning player season, like where these people got screwed, not having since Game Changers, the only returning player season has been Winners at War. So that already cuts down. So we had four people from on Edge of Extinction, and one of them he is somebody who shall not be named. So a lot of these players from that middle stretch have just got kind of
Well,
gotten
what did he
screwed.
do? I don't even know.
Joe Anglim,
Yeah.
just look up the things he says politically. He's very far on the right now. I'll
Oh,
just put it that
okay.
way. Very, very far out there.
Okay, gotcha.
So yeah, very conspiratorial and Uh,
Yeah, so then we had that, yeah, that returning season.
in
And
this day and age, the minute he'd get on, it'd be like, oh, why did you cast this guy?
um so Shan, like you said, is definitely I feel like should have been even though season 39 is not a big season, two people from that season I think should have returned or at least been highly considered for a return, and that's Elaine and Lauren Ashley Beck. I think one of those two should have been on the season, and I'm kind of upset that
Can I
neither of them are.
can I give you two more names I would put from that cast?
Sure. One of them I think would be Jamal, right?
No, actually. I'd be okay with Jamal, but Jamal's again, it's the level, and this is no disrespect to him of like on 50, I don't know. Would I be happy to see Jamal play again in another season? Fine. But I also 50 is such a big number to me that like I hold it even higher regard than 40 or
Okay, so
60
who
or
who won 39?
Janet.
I don't need to see
Janet
Jamal.
got screwed by the I don't know if I'm still mad about that. And then just a personal favorite maybe makes no sense. I would be thrilled to see Karishma play again.
Karishma.
I love Karishma. It doesn't make sense. I get it. Her idol play there, that idol play is still a legendary moment. And I want to see her play with people who don't treat her poorly.
Yeah, no, I would like to see her again, not for 50, but as a
No.
returner, just like, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm upset about them. Kelly Wentworth should have been someone to represent Survivor 50.
Hmm. I
Dominic
can
Abate, how is he not on this season?
you would have
I thought it was a lock.
how is he not in the season? And as somebody who followed all the rumors, he was not a name I heard once. And I was like, surely he'll pop up. He was
Right.
the Rick Devens that I'm like, surely Rick Devens will pop up. And then Rick Devens popped up towards the end, and there you went. How is Dominic not there?
He's on it. I'm
And
pretty sure in my opinion at least, he's up there with Charlie, but he's number one, Dominic, for the best runner-up game or the most robbed winner, like non-winner of Survivor, I think. I would
he
say he's the best runner-up we've seen.
probably Suri. I mean, Suri wasn't a runner-up, but if you want to say
Right.
people who
Suri
were
was a
robbed,
runner-up, like
Suri's been robbed.
legitimately second place finisher.
Yeah, Suri's
The
been robbed
best
several
second
times,
place.
but yeah, it's probably he's
I
up
think it's
there.
Dominic. I think
Yeah,
Charlie's up there too, but I think Dominic is number one.
Dominic's up there, and and I'll say this: Matt Van Wagenen just gave a list to Mike Bloom of his 25 favorite non-winners.
Who?
Matt Van Wagenen, one of the executive producers of Survivor, and the way he described it was like he's like if you had made like a doll collection, or I'm just gonna say like a pop figure collection of players, your first set would be all the winners at me, and he's like, who would the next group be? And he put Dominic there. And then today, since we're recording this on May 31st, which is the 25-year anniversary of Survivor Borneo premiering, which I want to give a little shout out.
There you go.
Jeff uh, sat down with Mike Bloom and he gave his 25 favorite seasons. And for some reason, Jeff has Ghost Island there. So I'm still like, how did you not fit Dominic Abate on this cast?
You make great points, and I have no idea why this happened. I think it's ridiculous. He would have been a great cast, and I mean, all the people I just listed off are the people who I am upset not to see. I could be missing some people, but that's my list. Those are the people I wish were casted.
People
But for
you're
all the viewers that don't know who is actually in the cast, let me enlighten you. So we
oh, please do.
for the 12 girls, 24 cast season, the 12 girls, we have Angelina, Aubrey, Chrissy, Sari, Dee, Emily, Genevieve, Jenna, Camilla, Savannah, Stephanie, and Tiffany. And then for the guys, we have Coach, Charlie, Christian, Colby, Joe, Jonathan, Kyle, Mike White, Ozzy, Q, Rick, and Rizzo.
Or God.
Um,
By
so
the way,
yeah, what were you gonna say?
two people that we haven't mentioned that should be on this cast, and it is a travesty they are not. One's not one I think just doesn't want to do it, and that's Sydney Gillen from Co Wrong.
Oh, okay.
I really want to see her. The one who is robbed, and I'm so mad about this, is Jerry Manthe.
A lot of people are upset about that.
How is Jerry Manthey not on this cast and you put Colby? I could do Jerry without Colby, fine. Colby was Superman in a fat suit 20 like 15 years ago. And they think, the person who made Final Four and nearly won Heroes vs. Villains, let's not put her on. Let's put the guy who was literally called Superman in a fat suit.
Hmm. Yeah.
Ugh.
I feel like that them together would have been a good dynamic too, having them on, like, because I think they've played every season
They
on the
have.
cast, right?
They have. I
This is
could
the first
like
time they're not going to be together. I feel like that's not fair. It's almost like putting Amanda on a season without James Clement.
and another thing where yeah, maybe she deserves to be on a season without James Clement. Jerry deserves a season without Colby. But at minimum, when I saw Colby without Jerry, I was like, oh my God, you're kidding me. And
Hmm.
Jerry is one of the people who wanted this so bad. And I'm like, not like that should be a bare minimum of you want to be out there so bad. Just so bad. And I think also, I think Elizabeth Hasselbeck would have been fun to see out there. I think Greg Buis would have been fun to see out there. I know I'm pulling a lot of old school names, but like,
Hmm.
those are the
I
people I
think I
think.
think putting them together because would have been interesting, and it's kind of I think the reason why Tiffany is on the season. I think they wanted to put Tiffany on the season so that they can have the Tiffany and Q
That's
possible alliance, possible
that's
rivalry, what will happen between them. I think Tiffany is a wild cast for season
it.
50.
She
She
is.
should
Here's what I'll
not be
say.
on this cast.
Tiffany is a wild cast for season 50. I do
And
think
the
she's
worst
underrated.
performing new era player too.
Yes, I know, but I will say this. Everybody on this cast, one good thing about this cast, every single person placed eighth or higher on the original season.
True.
So Tiffany's not a bad player by any stretch. I really
Right,
think,
right.
and I think under the radar, she has a really good shot to do well on 50. And I think this is
I do too.
one of those players that like production sees something in and sees something maybe we didn't.
Maybe.
And I don't hate it. Like again, should she be on 50? Probably not. There are other people I also would not put on this cast, but um, just if
Yeah,
I would have
the
swapped her out for
people
Jerry Manthe in a second.
the people who I think should not be casted. Some of them you might think are a little wild, some you might think are make sense.
Go for it.
I have six people
Okay.
I don't think should have been casted at all. Because either their story's done or honestly, like six kind of eight, like also. But
All right.
some people is Tiffany, I don't think should have been on the cast.
Okay.
Um, I think Aubrey's done. I don't know why Aubrey's on the season. I know she's a great player and could do well maybe on another season, but like I feel like we're Aubrey'd out. I think didn't we have already like three Aubrey seasons already?
We have had three Aubrey seasons. I am going to give the hot take. I love Aubrey.
I love Aubrey too. I think she was
I want.
I think she should have won over Michelle, and I'm very upset about that.
I
But it's
I thought
I don't think we need to see her anymore.
Aubrey's one of the
I
people
should
who just
things should
flew under the like casting rumor radar. And then at the last minute, it was like she's there. I'm like, huh. And the rumor is that she was the replacement for Amanda Kimmel, which okay.
okay.
Interesting replacement, but fine.
Yeah.
I really like Aubrey, and I think Aubrey, having now had time away, because she played 3 seasons within 3 years or 4 years, excuse me.
Okay.
That is just fast, fast, fast. And you can make the argument Aubrey's story is complete, and it very well might be, but I'm not opposed to seeing her one more time.
Okay.
Having had some time away,
I'd say she's not someone I'm like really excited about. Like it's fine. It's fine that she's on the cast because she was someone who was my one of my favorites on her first season, and I think should have won the game. So I love her as a player, but as a character, I don't really want her there. I feel like she can win the game because she's a good player, but I don't think she's a good enough character to be on 50 to where I'm actually excited to watch her on my screen. I just think that she can do well in the game.
oh, by the way, another name we have not mentioned that I would have been happy to see on the cast,
Hmm.
Courtney Yates.
Oh my God, Courtney Yates would have been such a
Courtney said she was cut.
Oh, okay. Damn. Yeah, so Courtney definitely would have been a great addition.
Yeah.
I wish she was on it.
The only people we have confirmed right now that have said no explicitly are Boston Rob and Andrea Belke.
Oh, Andrea said no.
Like,
Interesting.
yeah.
I knew Boston Rob was never going to play again, but
Eh,
he
give
he
Rob
he
enough
has, he has said in
give Rob
interviews
enough
he
money,
would
he
never
might do
play.
it, but you know.
Maybe, yeah.
Rob,
If you
here's
give
$1
him
million
money,
dollars
but
for
you can't
showing
give
up.
him money.
Listen, all these returning players get paid something.
Well, yeah, but that's not going to be enough for him to play again. He feels like his story is done. He got to end
It's been
with the
done.
season with Amber, and that's a great ending for him. So
Yeah.
I don't think he's going back. I think he's just going to do other reality shows like he did The Traders, Deal or No Deal Island. I think he's done with Survivor now.
Yeah, and that's fine.
But yeah, okay. So the other people that I don't think should be on the cast, Joe. We know what to expect already. He is a fan favorite
Yeah,
on fans. He's a great guy, but I don't know if a lot of people were rooting for him to win, but I think people were just thinking he's an amazing guy. Um, I know he's going to show up. He's going to find people who want to be loyal, and he's going to be loyal to them. And he's either going to be voted out because he's in the minority, or he's going to be making it far because he's a loyal player.
great.
That's me, that's not fun to watch.
No, it's not. I see him and Stephanie working together.
Stephanie is another person that I do not think should be on this cast. I don't need to see
Oh,
her again. She did terrible in her last season, and
I'm,
she just played Traitors. She wasn't
yeah.
a big personality on the Traitors either. Like I don't think we're gonna get much out of her that we could have possibly gotten more of
I,
by somebody else in the 20s of season.
I'm fine. Like the thing is, I'm fine with Stephanie. I'm also not like thrilled about her.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know. I I prefer her not on the season. Like not that I don't like her, but like
yeah,
just annoyed at some of the people who got turned down for her.
yeah.
And then Kyle. I think I love Kyle. He was practically, but not my winner pick for the
You're
season.
very convenient winner pick half the time when it's
Well,
outright.
okay, I'm gonna stop saying this. Like he was my winner pick for the fantasy league. So I can say he was my winner pick.
But when did you make the winner pick?
Episode 3.
Yeah, no. If it's not preseason, it doesn't count.
Okay, all right, fine.
Or episode one. I will give you episode one.
Episode 1.
You can make the pick during episode one. That's it.
Okay. I had him as my second, so then we can he's not
Who was your
official.
remind me who your first was?
My my first was Kevin. And then we saw that planned out, and that's why
I actually wasn't even trying to make fun of you. I genuinely forgot.
yeah.
But that's
It
great.
was Kevin.
I listen,
He was gone too soon.
I adore Kevin legitimately. Like I will tell you this,
He
little
should be
inside
on
base.
Survivor 50.
No, no, he shouldn't be. Again, I adore him. So I went to the Survivor 48 premiere like beach drop thing they did, like the little pop-up they did in New York City before the premiere.
Hmm.
And a bunch of the players had people around them and like talking to them. Kevin and Camilla had like nobody, and I just started just striking up a conversation with them like they're normal. I knew they were on 48, but I just like started talking to them, and the next thing I know, a half an hour has gone by, and I was just still talking to both of them, and the both of them as people are just so genuinely nice and kind, and like legitimately, I can in some ways consider them friends now. So I'm rooting for. So sure. And like, listen, there are other people in the cast. I really like Kyle. I've met him a few times now. Him, Justin, great people. But I am so mad that both Kyle and Camilla are on the season. They're screwing them both epically.
Yeah, that they're on together. That's definitely, yeah,
And
that's
and
super
and
tough for them.
whenever we see this happen, it's usually the woman who gets taken out. Challenge strength, whatever it is, I
Right.
really worry for Camilla. I'm so worried for her.
I don't
And
know.
if
I feel
she,
like there's a lot of strong guys on the season that I think Kyle could possibly be taken out because he's a winner. And it really matters about who goes to tribal first. Because if Kyle can get voted out before Camilla, I think can make a very far run. But if
yes,
Camilla goes to tribal before Kyle, I don't think the tribe is going to chance that the other tribe is not going to vote Kyle out. So then they might vote Camilla out. So
I I could very well see D Kyle like one. Let's assume D and Camilla are on a tribe just for sake of argument, because Camilla and Kyle won't be together, and you probably won't put Kyle and D together.
I think that would be a very smart. decision by production to put Dee and Camilla together so that it's not a guarantee that one of them will
But
go. Like that
frankly, I do think if they're together, I think one of them is going.
one
I
of them
don't
will
see.
go, but at least gives them a chance to fight for themselves and see who can make it past, like a winner or someone in a pair with a winner.
Yeah,
Like
and let's just be
someone,
real. They they are out filming like right now. I'm assuming they're starting the game, I think tomorrow. Like the day, like they're probably just doing pre. Who knows when they actually will start?
Mhm.
But they just saw 48. They don't. Rizzo and Savannah are just people to like, all right, who the hell are you?
Right?
They know Kyle, Camilla, and Joe, and they know Joe is relatively honest and whatever, and they know Kyle just won, but they know how good Camilla is. And I'm really, really worried for Camilla as much as I don't want to be. I'm so happy she's on the cast. I'm so happy she's there. But do I think she should be the only person representing 48? Yes, I also think that. But
Yeah, I do
just
too.
such a
Um,
bummer.
and
But you
then
know,
one person,
she could surprise us.
yeah, I think she will surprise us. I think Camilla will do well. Um, I think even though she is the greatest Survivor player to never win, I don't think Cerise should have been on this cast. She won the Traders. She's already played a bunch of times. She has, other than one time, placed extremely well.
She
I
also played
think
Big Brother.
she's also played Big Brother. I think her story's done. Like everyone should just think of like Suri, this amazing player that never won, and just praise her like that. I don't think she has a chance to win this season. So she's just going on as a personality. Suri was never a personality. She was an amazing under the radar player that fans loved, but she was not this big personality. And I feel like for someone like Suri, a big personality should have been on Survivor 50, not someone who is just an amazing player who everyone knows is amazing and is going to vote out early. So I think this was a wasted spot. Um, I think they could have given this to someone else who is a huge name in the community that possibly is not as big of a threat as Suri, the best non-winner. Um, like just that in and of itself is going to give her a tough time rather than someone who possibly has done super well twice or three times and isn't considered the best winner and could possibly then do a better job. So I don't think Cerise should be on the season. I'm honestly not that looking forward to seeing her because I've already seen her so much.
Surie's another one where I agree with you in theory. And like I feel this very strongly about Ozzy. Like there's zero reason Ozzy should be on this cast. Suri, I genuinely love Suri. So this is a I would not put her on the cast if I were making the cast, but she is not one of the names I'm going to fight Jeff over and say, how the hell did you put Suri Fields
No,
on the
of
cast?
course
First,
not. But I just think
and,
it
and-
shouldn't have happened.
yeah, no, and she's gonna be on Australian Survivor this summer, so we're just gonna be getting a lot of Suri. I think if this was a few years out, I might be happier to see Suri, but again, I have bigger gripes with other people where I'm not gonna throw a fit over Suri.
Yeah.
Um,
So if I had to pick three people, and I want you to pick three people too, who are the three people you are the most excited about seeing on this season?
Most excited. Okay.
Yeah, my three are Christian Hubicki,
Okay.
Charlie, and Rick Devens. Rick Devens, I really wanted to see back. He's one of my favorite players of all time. Definitely top five, maybe even top three. Um, Christian, one of my favorite players as well, and
Me.
Charlie. I've been obsessed with him ever since he
Uh,
got robbed and should have absolutely won if it wasn't for crazy Q and Maria. Um, so I'm
Pick
so happy he
three
gets another
people.
chance to prove that he deserves to win. Christian, I'm excited to have back, and Rick Devens,
Man,
so close to winning, played
dude.
such a good game. Happy to see them back and see how they
So,
do.
so
The way,
I'm so right before this podcast, I wrote down the list of people and I started doing some stats or whatever, which is very nerdy of me, I know. And I'll say this: this cast, like in terms of doing well, delivered. You have 10 people who made Final Tribal and lost, five fallen angels, two winners, and then the other seven finished fifth to eighth. And Rizzo and Savannah, we have no idea. going through this and trying to pick three that I'm most excited for is so difficult. This is really hard. I'm gonna go right now. Jenna Lewis,
Okay.
Chrissy Hoffbeck,
Okay.
and Genevieve.
Okay. Interesting.
Those are my I mean they're I like this cast I think is overall has some really strong people. It to me just kind of doesn't make sense together. Like it's a little mishmashy, and I would have wanted 50 to be like legends upon legends upon legends. But um, but there are a lot of people I'm really stoked about this cast for. Like I can't argue with Christian. I'm so happy Christian. Angelina's gonna be great. I think Mike White's gonna be really funny, and I think it's gonna be an interesting dynamic.
Yeah.
Seeing if anybody like if he tries to use White Lotus as bargaining power.
Oh, he will. I
Uh,
don't think he'll use it, but I think people will use it for him.
yes.
Um,
Like I'm excited as I'm really excited to have Q back. I'm
Me too. I
Q's
he was a fourth person that I was considering maybe putting in. I
Q's
decided top
great.
three, but Q I'm
Camilla's
so excited about because
Camilla's great.
he's here to cancel Christmas. He's
Yeah.
here to wear the Q skirt, and
Oh
he's
my God.
if you vote him out,
Oh,
it's a
I, I,
big
I
mistake.
need Angelina and Q on the same tribe. They vote Q out, and Angela's Q. Can I have your Q skirt? Any way I can get your Q skirt? I need that. I
Oh,
need.
without Angelina's got to do that. I mean, come
And
on.
Angelina needs to be wearing like a jacket in every promo she's doing. I'm sorry. Give this
Natalie's
one.
jacket and be like, I finally got her jacket, and then like actually bring that as one of her
Okay, but
outfits.
the thing we were talking about with Tiffany, actually, I thought of this now, where it was like, oh, she was cast to be like Q's heel or whatever.
Mhm.
Q doesn't need it. Q can find anybody on this cast and immediately be like, "Oh, I have a problem with them. Oh, I love them. I hate them." That's gonna be anybody dealing with Q. I think it's. I will say him and
Well,
Aubrey.
right, but they will not have a problem back with Q unless Q does something crazy, which is Q did something crazy, and that is why Tiffany hates him. So I think that
And Q will do
if
something
something
crazy
like
minute
that
one.
happens, they need someone like Tiffany to start right off the bat. They want Q to have conflict. They
I, I,
didn't have conflict in the begin when he was on his original tribe, not until the merge when he started having conflict.
I still think Q. I don't think you need to give Q is one of those people like you don't need to give him anything. He'll be gold no matter what. But separately, I'm starting to come around on Tiffany, and I think actually cast Tiffany could be a real surprise on this cast. So
The three people that I also forgot to mention that I am not that high on, like it's fine that they're there. It's like I'm okay with it, but I'm not crazy about it. Colby, one of them.
yeah.
Honestly, Jenna is one that I'm not like crazy
Aw.
about.
Okay.
Just mainly because she's in earlier seasons, and it's nice to have some earlier seasoned players on season 50, but like I'm more a fan of the people who have been in the 20s, 30s, 40s. Um, so I'm not like that looking forward to her, but great that she's on it. And someone who I think is a great personality, but I don't think will be a great personality on 50 because he's older and he already had so much antics on his previous seasons that enough.
Don't don't you dare. Don't you dare. How dare you say coach?
Coach, I'm excited to have him
The
on this
Dragon
season,
Slayer.
but I don't think he's not gonna be the same coach. Like I think
Let,
he's
let,
gonna be a great player
okay.
on the season. Like I like a great personality still, but I don't think he's gonna be the coach personality we all know.
Oh,
And
let me tell you
so I
something.
think that might be a waste.
So, it's some more inside baseball. At the end of 47, the day after Ben Katzman hosted a concert in New York
Yes,
City,
he played the
he
trumpet.
and coach flew from California for the concert, came back. I talked to coach for 2 minutes. Coach is the same.
He is.
Coach is as delusional as ever. I'm here for it.
Oh,
I
okay.
am so here
For
for it.
some
He
reason
is
I thought he turned his life around.
Oh
Like
no 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 no! I was like, would you ever play? It's like, well, I married somebody much younger and more beautiful than me, and got the kids now. And Survivor's called me so many times. They need me more than I need them. They've said that to me. That was Coach, straight up, like quoting Coach.
okay, I love it.
And I was like, I think I said to him, like, if you ever like consider 50. He's like, never say never, but I wouldn't bet on it. And here he is. So,
Okay.
but yeah, the last
So
thing I'll
I
ask you,
have
who's winning?
Yeah, so I have a list of seven people.
Oh,
who I
Jesus.
think are going to have a good chance of winning. I think the winner will be one of these seven people. And those seven people are Chrissy, Charlie, Emily, Genevieve, Camilla, Mike White, and Tiffany. I think those seven, one of those seven will win the season. Um, and if I had to narrow it down to a top three, I would say Genevieve, Chrissy, and Charlie, I think have the best chance. I think Chrissy might have a harder time pitching her case at the end because she'll probably be there with someone else who probably played a little bit of a better game than her.
Oh.
I think that Charlie, I apparently heard has been pre-gaming, and I think it will help him early on, but
Hmm.
will catch him later on in the game as a threat. And so I think Genevieve will be my winner pick for season 50 because
Okay.
I think Genevieve, I can totally picture her at Final Three. Say, if somebody on the jury asks, what about your past game or games or like seasons that you've played did you was a weakness of your game and how did you improve on it in this season? And I think she'll be able to do a really good job at saying that she um, didn't think with emotions at all. And then she realized that she needed to, but it was too late. And so
Hmm.
she was able to do that this time around while also still making strategic moves. And I think she won't be able to prevent herself from making big moves. That's for sure. But I think she'll do it in the right manner. Do better with jury management, and I think will do it at better times in the game than she did in her past season. And I think Genevieve could totally win this game. I want Charlie to win, and he still is one of my top three winner picks, but I think Genevieve will win. And Chrissy, my fellow actuary, honestly, I think the only actuary to ever play Survivor. Um, I'm very excited to see her back on the screen, being able to promote being an actuary again. And then when I end up getting casted, I will be the second actuary to play and the first actuary to win.
Hmm. Delusional. Oh, Stephen, delusional as ever. I
Delusional
love
like
it.
coach.
Uh, well, at least Coach got on Survivor. Um,
Hey, the future is bright.
I hope so, my friend. I hope so. I hope we're there together.
I hope
But,
so.
but listen, if Genevieve wins this game, I'm here for it. If Chrissy does well,
Yeah,
few
who are your top winner picks?
I agreed with a few of the names that you said. The ones I didn't, I love Camilla. I think she has zero chance. I don't see a way Camilla gets out of this. I really don't. Recency bias, I think, kills her. I don't see a way Mike White wins this game.
I could see him Mike White
Mike is
winning. Yeah.
tough, but that plus the money thing. I
Yeah,
know it's 50 and it doesn't matter, allegedly, but like
that's a
there are
good
some people
point.
on that jury where like, Mike White, you were making money hand over fist as we speak.
If Q's on the
Unless
jury, he's not giving Mike White his vote,
unless Mike says I'm donating all of it to charity a la Gabler, there's no way.
which I think
There's-
he will.
he could. And I don't want to say he has no shot, but I would not put Charlie that high.
Here's the thing.
And
If pre-gaming doesn't become a reason for him to get targeted, or if I just think there's so many big players and great players on the season that I don't think people are looking at Charlie as like, oh my God, he's so good. We need to get him out. I think they're going to look at him like people looked at him on his season as someone who is nice, fun to hang around, and someone who can be a loyal ally to me, and someone who will be in strategic conversations with me, and someone who will vote with me and that I can get far into this game with and wouldn't be considered as this huge threat, both physically and socially, but maybe a little more strategically. But there's also a lot of strategic threats on season 50. So I
yeah,
think that he is a threat, but with the people he's up against, I don't see him being oh my God, we everyone needs to get him out because he's the biggest threat here. I don't think that's ever going to be the case. I think it's
Hmm.
going to be, did he make enough connections to stay in the game? And I think he will.
I I don't know if he's the first person you think of, but in terms of like this cast, like we have two winners or two winners,
Yeah,
maybe three if we're maybe.
I think D can possibly make the merge.
But
I don't think Kyle can.
my point, I think either of them can make the merge under the right circumstance. But my point being
Maybe.
with that, your next rung of like no, what people remember, they're gonna probably remember Camilla, and I think they're gonna remember Charlie. Those are the
Are
and
they
I
though?
genuinely, but you remember Charlie being like was one vote away if his best ally did not voted against him in a very controversial way.
I
Think
guess you're right.
Aubrey and Game Changers had a huge target on her back. Still did very well. Still did really well, but that target was still on her back squarely, and I think Charlie's in trouble. And also this whole pre-gaming notion. I don't know what to believe because there are rumors saying he did
Yeah,
it.
yeah, I've only
There's
heard rumors. Yeah.
there are rumors saying Stephanie LaGrossa did it against Suri. The whole rumor that like tried getting 9 people to target Suri and Suri found out about it and is coming for him. And then Eliza correct said it might be Stephanie. I could see Stephanie more so targeting Suri than Charlie. So we'll see. Um, the people I have on the list, they're very. What's weird is when I made my initial list, I don't have a man on this list. I almost am like, if you want me to ever bet on a gender winning, I feel like a woman has to win this season. And I think it's part of it just the way they cast. Like when I looked at the cast and you made the list, the women I pretty much I don't want to say I completely agreed with, but I didn't have many problems with the women. The men I was like, oh, this list sucks.
Well, yeah, let me see. I have one, two, three,
You have
or
Mike.
five out of the seven I have as girls, and the only guys I have is Charlie and Mike White, and Mike White's
Yeah.
not going to win. So yeah, I do think a girl is either Charlie or a girl is going to win. Either
I
A Swiftie and or a girl will win the season, in my opinion.
so the names I came up with very quickly. I have Chrissy like you do.
Okay.
I have Genevieve like you do. I have Emily. I have Tiffany. I also I also threw Aubrey on there
I think I'm underestimating Aubrey.
because I think a lot of them will. That's my thing.
Yeah.
When Aubrey
No,
played
I
three,
think they'll overestimate Aubrey. That's why I think I'm underestimating, like I think I'm overestimating how much people will overestimate her.
interesting.
I think
Uh,
people will maybe not target her as much as I think they will. But I don't know.
we'll see. And the other one is Angelina. Angelina is
Alina's
some.
not gonna win the game.
No, let me tell you something. Let me tell you.
Whoa.
You're gonna call me crazy. I see a path. I don't say it's a great path, but I see it more than some of these other people.
Q and Mike
And
White.
no, neither of them can win. Neither of them have a
No,
shot at winning. Let's
be at the final three with them.
no, but here's the thing with Angelina that I think is actually interesting. It's been a while.
Mhm.
She's remembered for basically silly shit like the jacket in a cast of huge targets. Angelina can slide under the radar. She's grown up a lot since it's been a while. She's had kids since then. I think she is a name that people don't realize is a huge target. And I think Angela strategically knows what she's doing.
Mhm.
She's a bit of a big mouth, but so do a lot of people on this cast. And if Angelina maybe doesn't get like targeted early and can get under that, I think she's a threat. I really think Angelina
I
is
just
somebody
don't
to
think her final
watch.
tribals council speech will be good. I think
I
she,
also think she's grown in that time. Listen, I think anybody in the
you
right
never
circumstances
know.
can
Yeah,
can give a
anyone
good
can
final
win.
travel.
Honestly, if Marianne and if Gabler can win the game, anyone can win.
No, but like I think Angelina is somebody where there's been enough time where you could see a change.
Okay.
And
I'm
and I don't
excited
think
to see if she did change or if she's the same kind of person.
I think her personality is good, but and I
Personality is
also
great, and
think
that's going
and
to get
here's
her
what I'll
very
say.
far, but
And
will it
here's what
get
I'll
her
say. If
straight?
Mike White gets targeted early and gets taken out, I think that's big for her. So like she is advantaged in a way by having two friends of hers on the cast. But if they get taken out, I think she also could be in a very good spot. So we'll see.
And so the
I
people
I
oh yeah, so who did you say was your official winner pick?
I have not said anybody yet.
Okay.
Man, this is really tough. I'm gonna go Tiffany.
Tiffany,
Right now, I'm saying Tiffany.
the
Tiffany.
person who probably deserves this the least, will fly under the
Um,
radar and be strategic enough to win. I totally see Tiffany being a
eh,
possible winner.
Tiffany is so capable. I want to say Chrissy. I think Chrissy very well could. And I think Genevieve could. I think Tiffany is going to impress the hell out of us. And she's gonna be the Amber, the Kelly Wentworth, the Sandra, even who you're like, interesting that they're here. Oh shit, they're good. Oh, they're good.
I think Tiffany's the Haley Ford.
Oh, that is so disrespectful to Tiffany.
I
That
mean,
is
I don't think she deserves to be on Survivor
Tiffany has more of
50.
a strategic. Tiffany in 5 minutes of Survivor 46 uttered more strategy than Haley Ford uttered in 2 seasons.
I mean, Tiffany was my winner pick for season 46.
And
Uh,
if she didn't go home with an idol, maybe she does.
yeah.
And I think she'll learn from that.
I not
And
necessarily does she not like belong because she's not a good player. I think she's a good player. I just think that
she's not 50 caliber.
she was not a top six woman cast for the new era, in my opinion.
And I can live with that, but I'm here. I think she could do very well.
I
And
do too. I think people will
right now, I'll
underestimate
say
her for sure.
Tiffany. But I think if I had to pick anybody I want to win, I would love to see Chrissy Hoffbeck win this game.
Me too. And
Oh, how
I
cool.
want an actuary to win.
And I will say this, you were telling me right before we started how many exams and how hard it is to do your
12,
job. I mean,
12 exams. I'm
yeah.
about to
And
take my fifth one out of
it
12.
makes me have even more admiration for Chrissy Hoffbeck.
Yeah.
Genius, Rob Survivor Queen. I'm so happy she's getting the shot. And this is gonna be a fun season. This is gonna be a fun season. I'm like starting to come around on it more.
Me
No matter who
too.
wins.
There's some people that I don't necessarily need to or want to see, but honestly, I like at least 70% of the cast. So like, hey, that's pretty good. That's
Let's
really
do
good.
it.
Well,
We're gonna have some fun next spring and hopefully 49 flows into that nicely as well. But
so before we end this discussion of Survivor 50, I want to talk about now we talked about the people who will do well. Who are the people that you think will be the pre-jurors or have a good chance at being pre-jurors? Now, I'm going to list off some people, and I think that all, if not most, of the pre-jurors will be within these names.
okay.
Um, I think, and also some of these people can be early boots or go really far.
All
But
right.
I think there's certain people that will make the merge, and that's why I'm not putting them in this category. Um,
Okay.
most of the pre-jury will be consisting of Angelina, Aubrey, Christian
Ah,
Hubicki,
ah,
Sari, D,
ah.
Kyle, Camilla, Q, Rick Devens, Rizzo, Savannah, and Stephanie.
Great. You named the entire cast. Half the cast is going out for
One,
great.
two, three,
You
four,
named like
five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10, 11, 12. I named half the cast.
you named half the cast. Great job,
Yeah,
my friend.
okay, but in a 24-person cast, 11 of them are going to be pre-jury.
Who the
So
hell who the hell knows, but you're probably right.
if 13 people or if there's going to be 10 jury members and the final 13 starts the jury on a 24-person cast, 11 people are going to be pre-jury. Here are 12 people
Okay,
I
all right.
think will make up most of
Great.
those
You
11
know what?
pre-jury.
I'm gonna make you boil. Who's the first boot? Who is our first boot of Survivor 50?
Our first boot of Survivor 50 is going to be,
I have a name right now if you want it. What you think?
yeah, you go first.
D.
D.
I think D's out first. When you cast like two winners, maybe three,
Hmm.
I feel like they're just going to have giant ballistic, get the winners out now.
That's what I
targets.
think
And
because
I think, and
I
if
think
Jenna Lewis is on a tribe with either of them, oh, Jenna's winner, 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 get them out now. And
yeah.
I don't know why. And I think frankly, D might even have a bigger, slightly bigger target, being I think a little bit of a better player. And I think D's out first.
I agree.
I
I
don't,
think I think the people the most in trouble, if I had to choose three people to possibly be the first boot.
you can't pick one, can you?
No, D. I'm picking D as the first boot, but
Ugh.
I don't know who's going to be on what tribes. So like if D doesn't go into tribal, she's not going to be the first boot.
Well, yeah.
So I think out of three people, where like if one of these three is not with the rest of them and are the first tr people to go to tribal, I think they'll be out first. I think Q might be an early, if not first
Huh.
boot. And I hope not because I want him to cancel Christmas for a bunch of people. Um,
Ah.
and so I think Q, D, and Kyle. I could see Christian Hubicki being a very early boot. I'd say those four, maybe Stephanie also.
I'm gonna give you one more name of who could be, and I don't want it to be.
Who?
I think you could see Suri going out first.
I, I
Sur,
I can see Sarik going out first too.
Sur,
I was thinking about it, but
Sur,
then I thought like
well,
I think she's charismatic enough to
yeah.
make it through one or two votes, but maybe I think she's gonna be an early boot, but I don't think she's gonna be the first boot on her tribe. I think
I
she's
hope.
the second boot on her tribe.
I hope not. But I think the thing with Suri is, especially on a return, if you give Suri an inch, she'll take a mile. And I think some of these players, obviously depends who she's with. I think some of the newer players might have like a reverence for her, but they all some of the olders might not. But I think a lot of them are going to be like, if we give Suri an inch in this game, if we get let her get past one vote, her magic will work and we'll be done. So,
So what I think is
but
going to happen is someone is going to be on whoever's on Suri's tribe. Someone's going home first, not Suri, and somebody on that tribe is going to be blindsided. And the
ooh,
person who is blindsided is going to go to everyone other than Suri and be like, Suri is way too big of a player. Like she is the mastermind behind this. She just pulled one over on you guys, and we need to get her out. And like kind of like what you said, like if you give her an inch, she'll take a mile. So we already gave her the inch. Let's fucking get her out right now.
mm,
And I think Suri can then be a second boot after being a big
ooh,
a big contributor to the first vote. That's my
I-
prediction. We'll
interesting.
see.
I quite literally think D and Kyle are the first two boots. In what order? I don't know.
I think
Um,
so too.
and
I
Suri.
think Kyle maybe has a shot if the tribe is filled with not the strongest of guys, but I don't know.
TBD. But yeah, I'm here for it. It
Yeah, I'm ready for Survivor 50. I
let's
don't
go.
really I don't know. I'm not even really that excited for 49. I just want to get to 50.
These poor people on 49.
I know this is getting overshadowed.
Yeah, but you know what? It's Survivor 50. Let's do it. Um,
Yeah,
but Steven, this has been so much fun.
this
Thank
has been
you.
awesome.
We've talked way too long yet again, but there's nobody I'd rather do it with than you. So
Absolutely. I feel the same
I
way. Yeah,
oh
thank you so much for hopping on again and just being a regular guest host for us, especially while Pat is very busy. And hopefully for season 49, at least season 50, we get Pat back on to be on most, if not all, of our podcasts. But you can count on me to stick around and I'm excited to get to Survivor 49 when it comes around and see what the Riz God and Savannah have in store for us
and the other 16 people.
and the
They'll
other
be
and the other 16.
we'll
Sure.
see. So, all
All
right.
right. Thank you so much, Alex. And thank you everyone for watching and listening this entire season to our podcast. And we are going to be back with the Tribal Lines podcast for season 49. So stay tuned and enjoy your summer. Peace out.
Bye.